Welcome back, friends, to episode 100
100!
of the BigAsp
Woo!
Cornhole podcast. Sean and Dane are back with you as always. What's going on, man?
Not too much. I don't know who was screaming very high pitched there, but
It was you.
they're excited. It was me. You're right, because I'm excited.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in like we have done for, I think, all 100 episodes.
I believe so, yeah.
All right, well, Dane, tell the folks what we're sipping on at home. In the segment we call What You Drinking?
What you drinking?
Well, Sean, right now, because, we're about to head on vacation, had a mismatch of some beers, so
We are on vacation.
we are on vacation right now. We depart for Florida tomorrow, but I figured I had some Christmas sales chilling in the fridge.
Might as well.
Let's let them rip. We got a couple others in the cooler too. Some IPAs coming up, but classic Great Lakes Christmas ale. Can't go wrong. Tried and true.
Yep.
And yeah, I just popped that with my ring. And as always, these beers are brought to you by our boys at localbagcompany.com. If you guys are looking for something new to try out, please, I promise you won't be disappointed. Go to localbagcompany.com. Grab yourself a set. Their new Pro Blend resin is next to none. They have slick, simple designs that look clean as hell on the board. So do yourself a favor. Go to localbagcompany.com and get yourself a set today.
Well, Cornhole fans, we have audio gold planned for you all today. We're going to recap our favorite moments from this year, answer some listener questions, and then we're going to be joined by ACL pros, two of our favorite dudes, Eddie Grinderslev and Josh Groce.
Oh, yeah.
But before we jump into all that, we bring you what's going on in our Cornhole lives in a segment we call In and Around the Hole.
Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Brought to you by Airwolf Athletics, helping athletes look sexy from the top down. I'm rocking the lid right now. Sean and I are both rocking our sweet Team Blackjack jerseys, but hey, Airwolf Athletics, you got to start at the top, work your way down, use code BigAsp, and it'll get you 10% off at airwolfathletics.com.
Well, as Dane said, we are rocking Team Blackjack. We're giving a shout out to our longest current standing sponsor of the show. A shout out to Troy Hauser. Thank you very much for sponsoring us. But at this point in your Cornhole life, if you haven't added a set of the sexiest bags or jerseys around, I don't know what you're doing with your life. So stop what you're doing. Go to blackjackcornhole.com. You get free shipping, amazing customer service, some of the best bags on the market. I still think some of their designs are the best.
Oh, hands down, yeah. You
So-
heard Jeff Reynolds himself say that
Yeah.
he's just stealing design for his own bag.
So again,
Jeff?
blackjackcornhole.com. Use our code BigAsp. Save yourself 10%, and you're gonna find success on the boards. You're gonna look good. You feel good. You play good.
You do good. Come
Do
on, man.
good. All right. So this past week, did
Yeah.
you throw it all?
I did actually. We were unseasonably warm, so I got actually outside and
Yep.
threw a bit. Was just practice, but I tried a whole bunch of different bags, and I think my throw's back, dude. I'm starting to just be comfortable again. Finally, there's no weird hitch anymore. I feel like I'm able to just sling again. So I'm excited to get back to league and get back into competition a little bit more now and see where my game goes. I'm hopefully on the trajectory up.
And you're gonna be playing with Tom.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me and T-Neff. Happy birthday, Tom. I know you're listening.
Yeah, I threw some last Wednesday. I was able to get to work at a reasonable time. Wife and kids were out of town, so got to work early. Threw some bags. Again, I feel comfortable where I'm at. I'm just so sick and tired of practicing
Yeah.
and just throwing by myself. I'm looking forward to the January regional that's coming up. I told my wife that, hey, we're going to be doing the commentary again for the live stream. I'm going to be there all day. If I'm going to be there all day, I might as well play too.
Might as well.
Currently looking for a partner. Been turned down by some folks here in the area so far. So I just use
Somebody
that.
pick this man up. He needs an
listen.
advanced partner for the Cleveland Regional.
I use that as motivation, right? Like I don't like being turned down. Like I know I don't play as much as I used to, but I feel like I can still hold my
Chad
own.
Webb, I know you're listening. Why don't you come down to Cleveland and rub it in Chad Braun's face
Oh, dude, hell yeah!
and win it?
I'd play with Chad Webb. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing doubles. I want to play doubles. I didn't get to play last time, but I'll play singles again. Just kind of let the chips roll and see how I do, and maybe I will play more than one game
Yeah.
again. So
Jordan Power, he's looking for a
Hey,
partner for Cleveland
anybody.
Regional.
hey, fans of the show, if you're in the area or you want to fly into Cleveland for I think it's January 8th, that Saturday. Fuck, I'll play with anyone right now.
Hell yeah.
I would like to play more than 2 games, but hey, I mean I figure I got to do my part too.
I'm gonna be selfish that day and go to my work party. It's well documented that I work for an event rental company, so when we throw a party, you don't miss it.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a
I get it.
spectacle, and I may or may not be running some cornhole tournaments within said party. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah, everyone's. They said I'm not allowed to play, but I said if I'm running the tournament, better damn well believe that I'm playing.
Yeah. Why
Me
wouldn't you be allowed to play?
Me and Dad will run it. It's fine, nice and easy.
All right. So it's episode 100.
Oh yeah.
We started this show almost 2 years ago. Actually, it might have been. Was it this week?
Yeah, I think it was, dude. Like,
Or was it? It's either this week or next week.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we started the show.
God, we're old. We're
In
so
your
old.
basement, downstairs, setting up with the heater, the furnace turning on every 10 minutes, the low
Had,
hum in the background.
Had so much beer in my mini fridge down there that me, you, and in the second episode, Timmy Jonas and Nicole Pratt, we all got a heavy buzz that night.
Yes.
For episode number 2. But yeah, I can't believe it's gone by so fast.
I mean, I'm trying to think. It doesn't feel like 100 episodes.
It really doesn't. No. I mean, I think we've done way more than 100.
We have, because there were some in the beginning that we didn't list. Like if we were just doing an interview, we didn't count it as like an episode. But this is like our standard episode 100 kind of thing.
Number
So
100.
I'm happy. I'm thankful for everyone that listens.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I tell you what, if people weren't listening, I give a lot of props to people that like in the indie podcast world. Like, you know, you go on social media, get to know some people, and they talk about like their numbers and stuff and how many people are listening. Man, I give those people props, because if we were only getting like 10 people listening to every episode,
Yeah.
I tell you what, we put way too much work in to do that. So we appreciate every single person that listens, and that's why when somebody reaches out to us on social media, I try to answer as fast as I can, because I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to listen to us, they don't have to interact. So I always feel
Absolutely.
like quick response is always good. You know, everyone wants something right
And for
away.
me, it's just like the response that we get going out into the world, seeing like
Yeah.
at these tournaments and stuff.
It's
I
fun.
mean, it makes you want to keep doing it. So
We've gotten
we love you all.
to meet really cool people. We've gotten to throw a shit ton of bags.
I mean, let's be honest. We meet the cornhole world, and who's not awesome in the cornhole world?
It's true. It's very, very true.
That's why we started this whole thing.
All right, so let's why don't we go over some like of our favorite moments from just like this past year?
Okay.
The first one that came to my mind was the episode where we had Lyle Gravitt, Matt Guy, and Allison Peters.
That was the old game changer patent.
It was.
episode.
I thought that was it was a big deal in the cornhole world when it first came out. This whole game changer patent.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to become buddies with Lyle, who his specialty was actually patent law. So he was able to kind of give me a
Small
rundown.
world.
He was able to come on the show with Matt and Allison. I thought the whole conversation was awesome. I thought he did an excellent job of explaining it, kind of outlining exactly what it covers, what it doesn't cover, because there's a lot of questions in the beginning. You don't hear about it quite as much anymore, only because I think that people have done their homework. They realize what is okay, what's not okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they realize like this is a big deal. Like, you can't be fucking around with this. But that was one of my favorite moments from this past year. What about you?
I mean, we got to throw out the Ione contest.
Oh, yeah.
It was a blast. And honestly, one of our very good friends that we've met through this was one of the winners, Miss Genevieve. Happy, congratulations on being a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope to see her back on the boards very soon, because she's a heck of a thrower, and I'm sure after that little tutorial, she's even better now.
Well, and Bruce Chandler, the other winner, he actually reached out to me, and like several months later, I don't know if he plays in Alaska. He's been tearing it up, like at his ACL regionals and stuff, and he actually sent me a message saying how much Anthony's, like, I guess, critique or advice on how to improve his throw, how much that has changed his game for the better.
And he was
I
already
loved
he already
hearing-
had a nice toss too.
Yeah.
And
And
those
it was-
little nuances, man, make all the difference.
Yep. So I completely agree. Anthony Ione, such an easy interview. Dude's so smart. I'm happy that he's such a big part of the ACL.
Yes.
I feel like that was just talent that they couldn't pass up.
No, I mean he's a guy he's such a good coach. He's like, I mean, you and I were coaches for rugby.
Yeah.
He does such a good job at breaking it down to a way that you can fix it.
Yes.
yourself. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it's an individual sport. I know there's doubles and whatnot, but when it comes down to it, it's just you trying to put all 4 bags in a hole.
And it makes it easy because he can hit those shots himself.
Yes.
So there's some sort of like practical application to it, which is what I think what makes him such a good coach.
Absolutely, yeah. And, someday we could maybe get there for cornhole.
Probably not. I mean, I know for myself, I've accepted my limitations.
Well, I feel like I could coach cornhole better than I could play it.
Maybe. Dane's messing around here.
Just,
on the screen.
clicking buttons.
One of the other big interviews I thought went way better, and somebody that I never thought we'd actually get on the show was when we had Stacey Moore on.
Oh, absolutely. That was a great interview.
We were able to connect with him when we went to the Erie Open. Him and I enjoyed a beverage together. He gave me his email address. I remember emailing him thinking, I'm probably never going to hear back from the guy. He got back to me that same hour, said, hey, let's set it up. Let me know time. We set up for the following week. Came on. I thought he was very honest. I thought he was very well spoken. I mean, the guy's a killer business guy. Afterwards, stayed on with us for another hour, just chatting it up.
I mean, honestly,
very personable individual.
Yeah, it kind of squashed any stigma I had heard from anyone surrounding Stacey Moore. He really is he's a good dude. I mean, we had a great conversation. Exactly, like we had a great conversation with him. He's just like you said, he's a guy's guy. We shot the shit, had some laughs, and enjoyed several beverages. And
I thought the interview went really well.
I think the next one is like what we both tout as our probably our favorite interview of the year. Pretty close. I mean, it's there's so many good ones. But I just remember this specific interview stuck out in our minds. Just because we didn't know what to expect, and it was a delay. But that was Cody Henderson.
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like he could be sitting on the show every week with us because we got along so well with him. He's very analytical. He loves the same stuff about the game that we do. And it was just an easy interview. I felt like we weren't actually interviewing him. It was just a conversation.
It was our longest episode ever. I felt like I could have sat there. So I know when it's a good interview is when I feel like when we let everybody else go, if I feel like we could have kept going with Cody 2 hours, I felt like
absolutely.
we could have just kept talking. He was actually supposed to be on this week. He's still under the weather. So Cody, if you happen to listen to this, I hope you feel better. We're definitely going to get you on again soon. I know we had you on recently with Chris and Adam. I don't feel like he got to speak quite as much because he wants to really go down into break down the science and everything. And it was actually his idea. He reached out to me the day after they finished the ACL team draft saying, I want on the podcast. I want to talk about this draft. And I'm like, done. Hey, listen, you can come on the show
welcome. Yeah.
whenever you want. Unfortunately, he's been under the weather the last 2 weeks, so we've had to rearrange some stuff. But you hit the nail on the head. There's been so many. I don't think we've had a bad interview this year.
No,
because listen, I'll be honest. I was super nervous about the Trey Birchfield interview.
And I thought he did a great job. I mean, from what we've seen,
it helps because we've interacted with him, not on the podcast. But I thought we were able to get him to open up enough where it was entertaining.
Yeah, and honestly, not everyone's gonna be ready to rip for a podcast. I mean, it's not easy.
Not everyone's gonna be super.
Not
polished.
not everyone's a conversationalist. So I mean, I get it. We're gonna have some interviews that might be a little bit slower, but yeah, I mean, I love talking with Trey. That was a fun interview. A good chance to kind of
Trey's an easy
pick
interview.
His brain. Yeah,
we know that I can ask a question, and then he's just gonna talk for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
for me, if I'm looking for somebody where we're short on content, I know I can bring somebody on like Trey, and he's gonna kind of just fill the dead air time that, and that's perfect. And I like Trey, and he's a great interview. We unfortunately we happen to talk about a lot of the same stuff on shows when he's not on.
Of course, I mean we talk about what's up to date on the ACL and stuff. So
I think somebody that surprised me from the first time we had him on to the second time, and I thought he was much more polished, was Adrian Johnson.
Yes,
we had him on somewhat recently with Leston Allen. I thought he seemed much more comfortable because off the mic when we weren't recording, he was super personable and outgoing, and I thought it was gonna be kill. And then I thought the first time we interviewed him, he got a little stiff. This
happens,
time,
though.
And I get it,
100%.
But that's why I was so impressed in how much of a improvement he made from the first interview.
You mentioned Leston, loved that man too.
Dude,
awesome
another
guy,
crazy good interview.
immediately rose up to one of my top 5 players to watch, and yeah, I mean, I'll keep supporting Lesson Allen because he's just a really good dude.
If I had to ask you, this could be a little BigAsp trivia question, maybe
Mhm.
on for like giveaway or something. What is our most downloaded episode of all time?
Most downloaded episode of all time. Um, would it be Stacey Moore?
It was not.
He's close though, right?
He was for a while. He's fallen back a little bit because we've had. So actually, do you want to know? I mean, are you gonna be able to guess? You think?
I'm trying to think.
It's hard coming out like top. I'm the numbers guy, so like I look at all this
Yeah,
stuff
I mean,
all
I
the
know
time.
like for a while it was Matt and Brett guy, and then that one got overturned by
Yeah.
Trey Ryder.
Actually, for the longest time, it was actually the Austin Reynard interview.
Okay.
That was our.
Which I get that. I mean, he came on at a good time when his business was popping.
Yeah. So he was overtaken. Trey Ryder was number one for a while. Stacy came on and he kind of squeaked ahead. But there's one episode where we kind of dropped some bombshell news.
Oh,
where-
Canberra news.
Do you remember
for
who the
sure.
guests were?
Oh God, no.
Groce and Sims.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So Josh Groce and AJ Sims. That
So
episode.
that's just a double like
Correct.
nasty
So
episode.
where we happened to, it was when we went over the TC bags. When we happened to drop the news about Canva, that episode just kind of exploded, and still to this day, it's still the number one downloaded episode.
I mean,
Jeff
rightfully
Reynolds is very close to the top.
see, I never knew the numbers on Jeff. I knew it was going to be popular though. 'cause
He was
let's be
number one
honest,
he was number one for a while.
Yeah.
It was like him and Austin would kind of just depending on the week would go back and forth. But yeah, so still to this day, by a pretty decent margin, still is the Gross and Sims episode.
Canva news. Man, I mean that was such, dude. When we heard that, like we were literally just sitting here ready to
all right,
record.
so this is a good like behind the scenes kind of
Yeah.
info. We're literally sitting here, and I had heard whispers about
Something was happening.
something was going
Yeah.
on, but some of my sources were being like really cute about it. Like they were like they didn't want to tell me exactly because they were afraid that like I was gonna
The hammer
say
was
something.
going to come down.
So we were sitting here doing like mic check and stuff, and I got a message, and I looked at it. I'm like, all right, well, there's only one way to verify this.
Yeah.
And I messaged Trey Ryder, and I'm like, and I put Canva question mark, and he responded. He's like, I can't remember the exact wording. It was somewhere along
He said
the
it was
lines
like a
of
pretty sad situation.
He's like, yeah, it's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, well, whatever information I just got is credible.
Yeah.
So we let it run. I didn't know all the details at the time.
We didn't need to though to drop the news. Honestly,
It was but it was right after that I
Yeah.
found out everything. I didn't want to spill it all. I wanted to write it out, so I wrote the article that is still our most download. Well, it's actually our most downloaded article on HTTP. It's still what your bag says about you. The first one I ever
I
released.
do like that one. Yeah,
Every once in a while I read it back. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
it is good. Yeah,
clever.
toot your own horn.
Yeah,
Toot,
to my
toot.
own horn. But yeah, the whole Canva thing that had to be the biggest off-season news, I would say.
No, hands down. I mean, what else is there going on in the cornhole world?
And you figured
Seeing
there was
who signed with what bag company? I mean,
there was some news like that. There was also,
Yeah.
the whole the bag changing about every bag company had to now if you're selling an ACL stamp bag, every series has to have some level of stamp on it. That was some big news.
that was big news. I mean, the one thing that I felt like we never really talked about that to me was somewhat big news was the step over rule. Kind of changing it to where like you have to be back into the box before the opponent throws again.
We've talked about it. It was a question we were asking guests a lot.
I mean, it was just like a little bit in passing, but like, do you think you're going to see that come into effect at all in tournaments this year?
Listen, there's only one individual that I think might possibly be affected by it would be Dane Weber.
Yeah.
That would be it. We've asked probably 5 or 6 guests that question, and even off air, we've talked about it, and it's pretty much unanimous. No one's going to be a dick. And
Well, I mean, to me, like if you time it out and like let's say you step over the line, take a second step, and then walk back. Like you're walking back by the time your bag's hitting the board. If you really think about it that way.
Yeah.
Like you're already moving backwards when your bag hits the board. Nobody's like throwing bags while bags are still moving.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, like it's not going to play that big of a deal, but I know there was a lot of people up in arms about it, like when it first came out.
Yeah.
It was like a big issue. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Even watching Dane Weber, he gets back so fast. Like I don't see it being an issue.
Yeah. Was there anybody that we interviewed that so like kind of like an Adrian Johnson, right? So like when we're not recording, they were all like you know what I mean, like they're
Yeah.
just funny, personable, but then when we started recording, they kind of held back. There's somebody that comes to my mind,
I mean, who's your example?
Matthew Stout.
Yes, he was very very personable.
As soon
out
as
there.
we stopped recording,
yeah,
completely different person.
I think
We partnered him up with Jake Horley. They're doubles partners this year.
yeah.
Jay's a phenomenal interview. Like very well spoken, like just thoughtful. And Jay, if you happen to listen to this, congratulations. A quick fantasy football update.
Yeah.
He overtook Dane in the semifinals. He's now in the championship.
Not my best, Jay. I'm
against,
sorry.
Congratulations, Sean Duggar. Mr. Duggar is also in the finals. So neither Ass Boy is in the finals. But we both made the playoffs.
You know who we're rooting for?
Team Blackjack.
Team
sorry.
Blackjack.
Let's go, Duggar. Let's go.
Come on, Duggar. Take it.
But yeah, so Matthew Stout struck me as somebody like that.
So, I mean, this one, it might surprise you. It was actually a great interview, but it was the one with all the zero gravity guys. Because once we got off the mic with them, dude, I mean, we chit-chatted for like almost an hour and a half.
I think it wasn't so much that they weren't.
I think it was hard with the timing of everything, too.
There's too many. Yeah, it's hard to have, I think, more than 3 guests.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah, and like, I mean, that one, I really think the timing kind of threw off everyone's like ability to just kind of let it rip.
But I would feel comfortable having any one of those 4 guys
like I
on.
said, it was actually a great
solo.
interview,
And we'd
it
had
ended up
Jimmy
being
Humans
great.
on.
Yeah,
I thought Jimmy Humans' interview was very good. I think it was nice for people to see another side of him because he's a super confident dude.
He is.
When you talk to him.
But
I thought he was a very good and he's very he's a very cerebral player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's a very interesting guy to talk to.
Well, like I think one of my favorite parts of last season too was just meeting Jimmy Humans in person.
At Rock Hill.
Yeah, Rock Hill.
As I was trying to stay awake and not pass out.
and kicking it
3
with
in
him.
the
Like,
morning.
I mean, I learned in that little moment that like his confidence is his tool. It's what he uses to be successful, and to me, I mean, that's what you need in this game.
So there's 2 big tournaments that we went to last year. We went to the Erie Open.
Mm-hmm.
I thought to me, it was fun playing or whatever. I didn't really care. The highlight of that was that we got to go and do the commentary for the ACL for the first time.
For like 8 straight hours.
It wasn't listening back to it. We did well. We weren't like super polished, but for something that we had never prepped for, I thought it went well. I was
much
hoping
better at Rock Hill coming back.
I was hoping that it was going to lead to big. I was hoping it was going to lead to more of us doing it more often. That's not the case. I mean, we also had the opportunity again down in Cincinnati when Wally was there.
Yeah.
I thought that went a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Just flow wise, I'm more comfortable doing some of that stuff on the fly now instead of when I don't have like all the prep and everything. But
I still think Rock Hill, we were money when we were on that broadcast. I think
it was good. It was good. I mean,
those were our best.
We were
times
better
doing it.
as it went on because by the end we were like 12 beers deep. I still love the pic. This is one of my favorite pictures, like the before and then after, and there's just like a mountain of beers.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
No, that was a cool experience. And then the other one was Rock Hill.
Yeah.
Rock Hill is it's an experience.
100%. I mean, the venue itself is worth going
Calling
to see.
those matches, that was the most. I think I had the most enjoyment doing that.
Yeah, I loved it.
And then when it was a Sunday that we sat at the Little Ass Bar, and we interviewed just whoever wanted to come up, whoever was walking by. I mean, we had. Let's see. We had Thomas Stranger. We had Brendan Ahern. We had Jason McCannon. We had Mike Ferreira stop by.
We had Baghdaddy.
Jordan
Stevenson.
We had Nick Feinstein stop by. We had Brandon Thompson stop by. It was the most fun I'd had. It was just a very off the cuff, let's just record and kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah.
I like that style sometimes. Rather than like the more formal interview type. I want to be able to do that more, and that's where I'm hoping like the Patreon stuff will allow us to start to travel and do more off the cuff stuff like that at events. But it was I had a blast there. I can't wait to go back. We're definitely going back again this year.
Without
a doubt.
I can't wait.
My goal is to go to Rock Hill and at least one other national, and I would like to go to 1 or 2 more opens. We're just trying to figure it out. Like we just need to these.
Well, it's hard when you don't know where everything's going to be. I mean, Rock Hill, we know it's going to be there.
Yeah,
that one's easy.
We
but-
thought there was going to be one in DC. I'm hearing rumors that it might not be in DC. I don't know.
Yeah, so we just need to figure out for travel arrangements, but
hopefully, if the
hit a
dates
couple more,
hold,
man,
I just
for
want to
sure.
request off work so I know I'm there and
Yep, exactly.
and kind of go do our stuff. But yeah, I just it's been a cool year.
It's been a great year. 100%, dude. I had so much fun doing it again, and it makes us want to keep doing it. So to me, like,
I'm not gonna lie, there was moments this past year with my son being born and me having to take a big step back this year from playing. There were moments, especially when it starts getting shitty out and I don't get a chance to go outside and throw, where I'm like,
why am I doing this? to
yeah,
myself?
it's hard, man. Like, it's hard to talk about something you like and not be able to do it.
It's the COVID talking, Sean.
It sucked though, but and I would even say it's somewhat recently. I would say like 2 months ago, before I got to go to that regional again.
Yeah.
Man, I was like seriously thinking, I'm like, man, I was just offered a coaching job for rugby again to go back to my old job to coach, and I'm like, shit, man, like, do I want to keep doing this? Like, I could just finish up in January. We have some sponsor obligations, but I'm like, we can refund them some money. I could go back to coaching, and
But
you
guess
know,
what,
just-
folks? He didn't take that position.
I didn't. I
He loves
decided
his brother too much to leave him in the dust.
no, and I love this. Like we've put a lot of time and effort into growing this, and I do enjoy it. Like, I love talking to people. I love cornhole. My goal for this upcoming year is I want to branch. We're still gonna do this podcast. This is our baby. I want to be able to start another podcast kind of branched off of this, where it's not just cornhole talk, but anything goes. Sports, life, anything. So that's going to be kind of like what I'm working on the side. And there's other stuff that we're working on, possibly like a little game show that we're going to be posting up. So there's different things. We've had this idea, if you're familiar with ESPN at all, there's a show Around the Horn. We're kind of working on that. I think that would be a big hit. I think that would be a lot of fun to kind of to have and post on.
I
But
think it'd be a blast.
there's a million things I want to do. One of the things that I wanted to address a little bit is hard rack push. It was it's not dead. It's right now. It's one of these times where there's not a whole lot of content to write about. If you have given me if you've written and you've sent me stuff, and I haven't posted it, it's not that I don't like it. It is literally that I went from a position at my job where I had a lot of free time to now
Having none.
I don't have any free time at work. So that's where I was able to handle a lot of the website type stuff. And at night, like, listen, I have 2 little kids at home. I have a wife. I'm trying to stay married. So I had to make some changes in my personal life where I wasn't constantly doing podcast and cornhole type stuff. The website's not dead. I plan on revamping it. There was a question later on from a listener that will kind of address this a little bit. But when it comes down to it, we are going to be looking for content creators. My vision for Hard Direct Push has not changed. I still want it to be like a one-stop cornhole content place. We're going to be doing stuff. Hopefully, if you listened a few weeks back to our episode with Cystic, we're going to be doing some trick shot type stuff. Possibly some giveaways with his type of bags if you post trick shots. One of the features we want to add to the show coming up is Shot of the Week. So if you have a live stream or if you're watching a live stream and you see somebody hit a nasty shot, either screenshot it, tag me, let me know what the minute mark is. We can take it from there and add it to the show, give you a shout out. But we definitely want to start doing shots of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely want to branch out, do some things. I want to hear from people more often on who you want to hear about from guests.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's
the
easy
whole
for me
point
to
of-
reach out to certain people because I know they're a good interview and I know that they're good. But again, maybe I don't know everyone that's out there.
There's so many new rookies this year too that we have like little knowledge of. If you think they're a great interview, let us know. We'd love to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Just see what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, Sean. I think it's time.
And you feel it, and it feels like a bag of sand.
We're not going to review bags, but we're going to actually tell you guys our 5 favorite bags that we have reviewed this year. And we're talking like probably more than 138 series of bags.
I went back and counted. It's at least 138. It might be like it's somewhere between 138 and 145.
So a lot of bags in a 12-month span there. So, I mean, you want to take your list first? You want me to let mine rip?
Go ahead.
You want to go alternate or just one at a time, or
Go ahead, just walk it through what you like about each one, and
all right. So my first bag that I'm gonna name off. There's no specific order here. I think all of these are currently in my bags board backpack. Number one is WTF Delta. Loved that bag. I really thought it played well with my throw, and it's so hole forgiving that you just I don't know, you could be aggressive with it, but it still finds the hole, and I'm a huge fan of that. Number two, 724 Bagger Company's Chaos. It was when I first got it in my hands, it just so happened to be the nasty BigAsp Cornhole podcast set that was the coolest bag I've ever seen to date.
no, that was the grenade.
Oh, was that the...
That was grenade.
Oh, the grenade. I'm sorry, but anyways, still, when I threw the Chaos,
Yes.
that bag was money.
The grenades, or the chaos, is the bag that whenever me and you are playing each other, one of us is throwing.
Yeah,
that
we're
bag,
throwing
pretty
that
much, yeah.
bag all the time. Yeah, and we always throw it well. So to me, that bag definitely deserves to be on the list. Next up is Local Challenger. I quickly fell in love with that bag when we started throwing it, and that Pro Blend resin, it's no joke. It makes that bag very, very nice. Still love it to this day. Still sitting in my bags board bag, and I throw it quite often. Next up, Epic Bags Warrior. I
love that
remember,
bag.
dude, this bag, like, I know it's the same two sides as a Viking, but something about the template, the fill, it made the bag work, and I really, really enjoyed that bag. It's still in my bags board bag. Again, it's not stamped, but I love to throw it. And last but not least, 710 Cornhole Deja Vu. To me, it's the better version of a Surefire. I loved how small that template is, and man, that bag is just it's money. I mean, you can rip airmails, you can hit cut shots, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's not carpet. It's that same kind of 5 speed on the slow side. I love that bag.
We mimic some of the same companies. The first one I'm going to put is TC Boards Revolution. It just fits in my wheelhouse. It's super hole forgiving. It's very floppy bag. It's what I threw in singles last time. I feel comfortable throwing it. It's just, I feel like it's a very underrated bag. I was very happy it got stamped this year.
Yeah.
So I can throw in those competitions. I think it's well documented that I have a love for the cornhole scenario friction. I still love that bag. Again, it's very much like a Surefire. I love the feel of that bag. It comes out of my hand very well. I like throwing it if the boards are a little bit faster. When the boards get tacky, I tend to move away from that bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go more towards like the Revolution.
The only issue with that bag is just trying to push.
Yeah,
when the boards tack
for
up,
me,
it's hard to push.
for how I throw that's
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the issues. Another one, it's one that I threw in league against you and Eric. WTF, the Echo. It is a dual slick type bag, but the slow side it's unique. It's a little bit textured. I love WTF. I mean, if I had to throw a carpet bag, right? Gun to your head, Sean, you got to throw a carpet bag. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, he's going to throw Pro Advantage. No, I'm going to throw a Tango.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
think you could throw the Delta just as well.
Well, I can't. I didn't want to say Delta because you already kind of listed it, but if I had to throw a pure because Delta, yes, it's a carpet bag, but it's like that hybrid.
Yeah, it slides more than the Tango does.
If I had to play a true carpet bag, it's going to be a Tango. It's still hands down my favorite carpet bag. But the Echo, it just plays very nicely in my wheelhouse. Again, more of a little bit of a faster bag, but super hole forgiving. Same fill, bigger feel in your hand, so I liked it a lot. 724 Bagger Company. It's hard for me to pick one out of them, but if I'm going to do one of them that we reviewed this past year, I'm going to say the Grenade.
I know, now I picture the Grenade, and I knew that the brownie one was
That's Grenade.
the Grenade.
Yeah. So that set is at my work.
That
is the set that if I have 10 minutes before work starts, I put the boards out. That's the set that I have, and I throw very, very well. They're very broken in. That slick side material is still my favorite. I think it's just a great bag. It's a little bit fuller version of a Chaos. Chaos slow side, or the slick side of the Chaos, is just a little bit slower than what I would like, but I still love that bag as well. It just depends on feel, but yeah, Grenade is right up my alley. And then I've said it before, 710 Bagger Company is a company very similar to 724, where I think that if enough people try them out, they're gonna really like their
they'll
bags.
blow up. Hands
I
down.
think he does very well pairing materials together. His templates are very smart. I like the Deja Vu too, but if I had to pick a favorite out of his, it was the Enigma. The baby blue BigAsp set that we have, still like my
It is
favorite.
nasty, yeah.
One of my favorite custom bags. It was hard for me to kind of limit it down because again, we did 138 series of bags. All right, I know everyone's like, "Oh, you like every bag." I don't like every bag, all right? Like, I'm not going to shit on anybody, but there are bags that I didn't care for at all. But there were a good number of bags that, yeah, I would definitely throw. Like, for like an honorable mention for me, you actually mentioned it earlier, C3 bags kilt.
Yeah.
Really like that
Great
bag.
bag.
That is, it's very similar to like a Viper. I also like the Sasquatch. Really like
Yeah.
both those bags from them. And then the other one obviously is Local Outlaw. I left it off my top 5.
I think you're still getting used to it
I
a
am.
little bit. Yeah.
I am. I want to get another set. Like the one set that I have that I throw a lot is like a Halloween set.
Mhm.
I don't know why that bothers me,
I'll lend you the set that I bought. It's
but I almost think too. The more I throw the Outlaw, the more I think that I'm trying. Why am I blanking out on the next? What's the bigger version of the Outlaw? Pretty much, it's like a slightly faster Legend.
Legend. Yeah.
I think the Legend is slightly better for my game than the Outlaw. The Outlaw is a much fuller bag. The Legend is a little bit bigger template, a little bit more floppy.
Yeah,
I
a
think
little floppier.
that's going to fit my game a little bit better. But the new Pro Brand resin,
It's
awesome.
money. It's money.
In every single person that has tried it, right? We talked about them. We're now sponsored by them. If they go try it, I'm getting messages every day saying you're right. Their resin is awesome.
It's awesome.
I'm not, and again, this is not a non-sponsored endorsement here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, this is like they've done their homework. It's a very nice blend. It's right up there with my favorite fill of every bag out there.
Yeah, I mean, and like honorable mentions for me, actually, just doing the fire bags, man. I think that Vengeance is
Yeah.
a really, really nice bag. I could see that being just super, super popular. Sure Shot had some money bags that we really like too. Trying to think of what else is out there that I'm forgetting.
Damn,
There's so many.
Oh,
I
it's
know. There's so
ridiculous.
many. But yeah, I mean, all in all, like we can't thank bag makers enough for trusting us with doing your reviews. And just because we put out a top 5 doesn't mean that we don't love your bags. There's so many out there that are great, so many that we're not fans of, but that's Cornhole. I mean, not everyone's
Now,
gonna like every
speaking
bag.
of bags coming up, so it's been the first 2 years of our show. We've run what we call the Best of the Bags contest. Last year, we picked 64 bags that we had previously reviewed on the show, and we paired them together in a tournament-style bracket, and we left it up to the masses to vote. We had BG Vikings versus kind of the underdog Cinderella story, fucking coming out of nowhere.
It was Cooper bags.
Cooper bags.
God, what was the name of that bag?
SOB?
Yeah, the SOB. Yeah, SOB
Came
3.
out of nowhere. Not that we didn't like the bag,
We love that bag.
but they have a cult following. So we're gonna run it again this year. We're actually gonna be using our Patreon page to run a few polls to decide how we want to set this up. There's a few different ways. We can limit it to 64 bags again, which is really, really tough because there's
It
so many
is,
good
yeah.
companies. We can do 2 64-man brackets. If that's the case, we just need to make sure we're posting 4 to 6 polls every single
Every
day
day,
to
yeah.
vote. Sometimes it's tough to do that because I feel like people get like kind of drowned out by the time it gets to the end.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ways. We're gonna kind of hash it out and try to figure it out. So if you're on our Patreon page after the new year, we're gonna be reaching out polls. We might even have like a live conference call with some of you guys just so we can kind of all figure out what bags need to be involved, what should be left out, how many bags we want to incorporate in this. But it's always fun. I like seeing what comes out on top. People get pretty passionate about
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
So we had a few listener questions.
Okay.
All right.
Let them rip.
Josh Zeller, one of our favorite Vortex person. Oh, that's another one. Vortex. I don't know how we forgot it.
Oh,
Vortex
yeah.
Zone. It's in my bag sport bag. I don't know how I forgot about that.
I mean, honestly, every Bag Vortex to come out with, I've been a fan of. So
I don't know. Do
yeah.
you have the shelters?
No, I don't.
Somebody stole them then.
Oh, that's good.
When we were in Cincinnati, because they was on top of my stuff. I thought that you just grabbed them.
Oh, no, I don't have them.
Okay, so I asked Josh the other day. I'm like, oh, Dane probably has them. He's like, well, I can send you another set. I'm like, I'll pay you for them because he gave us a set.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
Josh,
yeah.
if you're listening, someone definitely stole it then.
Yeah, somebody
in
ganked
Cincy.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, he wants to know. We already answered the favorite interview question. Cody Henderson, I think,
Yeah.
for both of us. What's our favorite beer that we've had this past year?
Favorite beer.
And that's another tough one, man.
It
There's
is a
been so
tough one.
freaking many.
I think it is tough, but I think one of my favorites. I don't know. Do you have one that sticks out?
Haze Jude.
I mean, Hayes Jude's a delight. I mean, it's always a classic. I don't know, man. That is really hard. I'm trying to think of because
Actually,
everyone
what's
that we've
the-
got sent to us, I love too.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the what's the one that they rave about in from Boston?
Treehouse.
Yeah, I'm trying to, one of the Treehouse ones I really
Yeah.
liked. I still remember the name of it. Brendan's listening to this right now and he's screaming it out, and I can't remember the name of it. But
It's just their IPA.
there was nothing from Treehouse that I disliked.
No, yeah, I mean, I was a fan. I mean, it's so hard to go over the beers because we've had so many, but
All right, so well, obviously it's a tough one for you to
I mean,
answer.
I mean, I drink too much beer.
Jeff Smith asked, when are we going to post bag review scores on HDP? This is going to be something I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks. I'm going to be actually closing the Bag Life page on HDP for maybe a week or two. We have some stuff working on behind the scenes. If you've ever heard of 6x6,
JD Welsh.
yep. He and I have talked. We are going to be putting kind of information on there about bag speed, and then we'll also put our scores down. A little synopsis about each bag. It's a lot of time. Bear with me. So that page is going to be under construction, but our scores for each bag will be on there, hopefully in the next month or so.
There you go.
And he also wants to know, was there one thing that you changed in in your throw or something, right, that made a significant improvement right away?
For me, it was to my detriment, and that was gaining so much weight.
Okay.
I had to throw around my love handles, and it threw off my game.
I think for me, the biggest change I was switching over to a butterfly grip.
Yes, your bag became so much flatter once
Yeah,
you started
it
doing
really
that.
did. I still every once in a while, if I don't think about throwing the bag aggressively and spinning it, it still comes out weird. Like the last time I was at the regional, I just had the ugliest bag anyone had ever seen. And I heard about it from 10 people. I happened to look
turn
over.
around and
Yeah,
see
and that's
it.
what everyone said. I just happened to turn around and see your bag. I'm like, it was one fucking bad throw. Anyways, assholes. But yeah, the butterfly grip for me was a big one. It helped me flatten out my throw big time. And the other one was just me stop trying to fucking throw a flop shot. I just embrace what I'm good at.
Just bang into
Yep.
it.
So thank you for those questions. So I guess that's it.
Is that it?
Yep.
Cue the rap horn.
Reach us at Instagram and Twitter at BigAsp Cornhole.
And Facebook at BigAsp Cornhole Podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors. Visit airwolfathletics.com for all your cornhole swag. Be sure to use code BIGASP. It'll get you 10% off. And localbagcompany.com for the best bags in the business.
BlackjackCornhole.com for the sexiest bags around. Code BigAsp can save you 10%. And, not forgetting, bagsboard.com for the sexiest backpacks and patches in the game. Patreon. All right. We talked a lot about it last week. You have until December 31st to register for our Patreon. We are capping it at 100 people, but if there's not 100 people, doesn't matter. After December 31st, all those that are Patreon members on our and part of our community are going to be eligible to win a set of 724 Bagger Company bags. I'm going to cut it off on 12/31. Just as a thank you for all those people that are putting faith in us early on. If you're asking yourself, what the hell is Patreon? Patreon is a site that we are using to build a community where we're going to be posting bonus content. We're going to be posting our YouTube videos. of our content up there. We post polls. You can ask questions. You're gonna have the opportunity to talk to pro players. We're gonna have happy hours with us before we start recording, where you can ask us any questions you want. If I have insider information, I'm gonna share it there first. We have 3 different tiers you can join from, anywhere from $5, $10, or $20 a month, depending on what level of involvement you want. If you are a $10 or a $20 member, you're going to be eligible for bag giveaways. Speaking of that, Al Minton, Austin Adams, and George Alanovitz, they were the winners of our Fireback Cornhole. They're going to get out as soon as we get back from Florida. Again, I apologize. The holiday happened. The bags were here at Dane's house. We're leaving for Florida tomorrow. I've been crammed at work, but they're coming your way. I have the bags all set up.
We'll get them out.
We'll get them out there.
Then, you want me to shout out newest
Yeah,
members?
shout out our newest community members.
All right, so newest members of the Patreon community: Randy Garrett, Brandon Thacker, Jeff Smith, John Tucker, Cameron Dumas, Peyton Brewer-Ross, Josh Zeller, and Gabriel Pena. Gotta love it.
Hell yeah.
Look at all
Thank you guys for your support.
Love
We
it.
greatly appreciate it. We're looking forward to having just continuing to build this community, interacting with you guys more. So if you like our content, you would like us to continue doing this content, consider joining our Patreon account. It's like buying us a beer. For the price of buying us a beer, $5 a month.
Yep, and
join you on.
Get tons of perks.
If you want to, and if you want to get some bags, $10 a month.
And honestly, like, we're giving away the majority of the bags that we review.
Oh yeah.
So like, there's gonna be a lot of bags up. I mean, we
yeah.
do like probably average 4 an episode.
Yeah, if we review bags, we're gonna give them away.
Yeah.
We have nowhere else to put them.
I'm busting out the seams here.
Somebody reached out to me last week, like, how many sets are you guys up to? And I'm like, well, we reviewed over 100 just this past year. We don't have all of them, but we probably have 70% of them still.
I would probably say 80 something.
So I mean, we have plenty of bags. So if you're on Patreon, for example, and let's say there's a set of bags you want to try, and you message me, and we never use them, I might just fucking give them to you.
Why not?
That's part of
What
being
else
a
are we gonna
community
do?
that we want to build.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, it's patreon.com/BigAsp Cornhole, and yeah, join.
Join it up.
It'll also be in our in the show notes.
Of course.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. This was episode 100. We're having a hard time believing that we reached to 100. But thank you all for your support. We greatly appreciate it. We love each and every one of you. And with that being said, we hope you threw it straight. And it's nothing but 4 baggers from here on out.
Cornhole it.
Later.
And this 100th episode is brought to you by CornholeSolutions.com. Do you have a cornhole question? Get it answered at CornholeSolutions.com for all your cornhole board needs, bag needs, pitch mat needs, score tower needs. They have everything you need. So if you're looking for something cornhole, visit CornholeSolutions.com.
Welcome back to the BigAsp Cornhole podcast, where we are now joined by 2 Texas Goats, ACL pros Eddie Grinderslev and Josh Groce. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, guys?
It's going. So you guys, I mean, Josh is like a grizzled veteran on the show now. This is what, your 3rd time on?
Yeah, I think I'm on salary at this point.
I think so. And this is episode 100. So I mean, it's kind of a big deal for
Cue
us.
the fireworks.
Yeah, right. So
I'm going to talk to you guys about dental and some health benefits.
you know, it's all good. We'll get there at the end of the episode. Okay. So first of all, how's your guys' Christmas? You guys got any big like New Year's plans, anything like that?
Yeah, Christmas was good. Just hung out with the family. Daughter's first one with my new daughter, so pretty cool, different experience. New Year's, Josh is throwing a party, so we're all getting together and hanging out, throwing bags.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
going to be
like
a pretty
a
good time.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Kevin.
What's the
So
talent
we
gonna
went-
be like there?
What's up?
What's it-
So it'll be, I don't know if KB's coming, but it'll definitely be AJ, Eddie, myself. And then we've got some underrated shooters that'll definitely be there. Some of the higher end Southwest Conference guys. So it'll be a mix of that. And then we'll have, just good friends that, like to play and stuff too.
Yeah.
So it'll be competitive. I promise that. So
All right. There you go. So Eddie, you were talking about first Christmas with your daughter. What's dad life like?
Oh, it's great. It's I'm learning every day. I'm just kind of rolling with everything, but it's been great. I can't complain at all.
How are you balancing everything? I mean, you got big boy job, you have cornhole second job, dad. I mean, you would think would probably be your first job, maybe. Then husband comes maybe like fourth or something.
I like how you had to walk that one back
Yeah.
for yourself because you're like, how do I
Uh,
word this
no,
right?
it's definitely a learning experience. I'm trying, really trying to balance time um, with the family. She's just at the age now to where she's very interactive. So, I used to come home and start throwing right away for a few hours, and now it's like I come home and I kind of want to hang out with my daughter and spend time with her because it seems like every time I turn around, she's grown another inch or she's out, trying to crawl around, stand up. And so it's been really enjoyable just getting to see those little things.
So when we talked to you last time, I think your daughter had just been born, like she's maybe a month old, something like that.
Yeah.
So I know you were saying you were finding it hard to kind of practice because like when the baby first comes home, right? You guys are all just trying to figure out this freaking routine, right? Like how's
Yeah.
everything gonna work? Do you find it easier to practice now that maybe you guys are in more of like a routine, things are flowing a little better now?
Well, I'm a lot less tired.
There you go. Hey, you're just wait, does she sleep through the night?
She does, yes.
Man, you motherfucker.
That was the biggest
Damn.
challenge, I feel like, was getting the sleep cycle down for her.
Yeah, I had a very tough first few months was just tough trying to catch up on sleep. But she does sleep through the night, so we get a normal night's sleep. I find that practice now is it's easier to practice. But like I said, I come home and I do want to hang out with the family a little more. I used to just go out and throw and come in and hang out. But now that she's being very interactive, I want to hang out until we put her down. We put her down around 7:30, and then I usually go out and throw then after that for a little bit.
Josh, what about you? I mean, I know you have three, so you're kind of at a different point in the dad life.
Yeah.
Do you envy where he's at, or do you like where you're at now?
Yeah, so sometimes I can be a little envious where I'm like, man, that looks like that would be easier to get things done. But we're all at different stages, so he'll be going whenever I'm empty nest, which I don't want that to come anytime soon, but whenever those days hit, I'll be looking back and he'll still have Nora going through some of the critical spots. So we just started early, but no, it's not too bad. It gets harder every year though, like you said, because now I got the 5-year-old, so now we have 3 baseball games a week, and select ball, multiple football games, multiple basketball games, and they got school plays and programs. So I mean, it's a full-time job, staying on top of that, at least to do what you want to do with it. But I would say
are you practicing as much as you were?
What's that?
Are you practicing as much as you were like when you first became a pro?
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
I would say that I was putting in 2 to 3 hours a day for that first 2 years. And I would say now I average an hour a day. And then, I do have some gaps. The difference is we do a lot of solo practice. We only get together maybe like once a week, once every other week. AJ and I used to be able to see each other probably every single day,
Okay.
And get higher level competition and practices in. So I don't get the level of work I put in. But when it comes tournament time, we put that crunch work in. That 14 days, we get it. I
feel like we put in quality practice time.
Yeah.
When we have, when I'm throwing at my house, it's usually just me by myself with some headphones on, nobody around, and so I'm able to work on different angles of the game, different aspects of the game, and I feel like I'm able to get really good quality work. And I know that may sound crazy doing that throwing by myself, but I'm just able to lock in and just throw different things. So I always consider that just the quality of being able to play. And then we generally do try to get together once a week. And, when we play each other, we make sure to, throw out some cash games to keep it interesting, to push us to play harder.
Oh yeah.
Before this happened, him and AJ was sitting there playing $5 games for about an hour and a half. And funny enough, KB's got the trickiest schedule. He's the one that we struggle to get, together with as a
Okay.
doubles pairing. So a lot of times we're doing, third wheel type
Yeah.
games and stuff. But he's busy with school and all the stuff he got going
Yeah,
on.
he's been really focused on school and trying to
School, girls.
I mean, he's at that age now where girls, but
I mean, he's a
really
professional
been putting
cornhole
in there.
player, man. I mean, he's gonna be raking in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
You guys get
but
a
no,
cool chain or something.
He's been taking school really serious this
good.
this year, and
Just got his license.
he just got his driver's license.
You guys aren't cool.
because-
Listen, you're not cool enough anymore. Is what happened. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's been that.
Hey, that's always been the case.
Hey, so we'll get going on a car ride, and the next thing you know, we're talking about how are you filing your taxes this year, and how are you planning to renovate that room? And you look back KB, and he's like, "Damn it," because you lose him quick, and you start talking about that kind of stuff.
Caleb's sitting in the back with his headphones on, watching TikTok videos, and
Yeah,
we're talking about how we're going to renovate the inside of our house.
yeah, it's crazy, man. How are you doing your retirement planning?
The one thing I find that interesting is you all three of you guys, right? So Eddie, even when AJ was on, Josh, you guys have all made a big point about, to me, you guys are different because a lot of the pros we have on say like the only practice they get is when they go to a blind draw. You know what I mean? They don't work on the individual stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that you guys all make a big emphasis on, the individual practice and how important that was. There's actually one of the listener questions, Peyton Brewer Ross, he said, like, how do you guys go about practicing, and do you feel like it makes a difference in your play? So like individually, I think most of us consider practice like, solo type stuff. Do you feel like that has a direct, reflection into your performance typically?
So I do play generally on Mondays. I do play a league on Mondays, and I'm able to throw against other players. So I do get the interaction probably more than Josh and AJ do playing against other players.
Okay.
But I feel like I feel like I get better quality practice when I'm throwing by myself, because, I mean, who's your biggest criticizer? It's yourself. So if I'm not playing well, I criticize myself, and I work on things when I know I need to work on them.
But what does your like solo practice look like? Are you are you just throwing 4 bags? Are you putting like bags on the board to give yourself a certain situation? Like, does it just vary?
No, I usually grab 12 bags and I throw back and forth, and just I used to play a lot of the ghost. I kind of quit doing that about midway through last year, and I just different shots. I just throw. Like I said, I just try to just get my own space, and I just throw consistency.
Okay. So you're not trying to put yourself in situations like,
No,
pulling a bag back in. Like if there happens to be one, you just.
I play the board basically. If that makes sense. Whatever happens on the board, I play it.
You ever lob one up to give yourself? Because you can throw 12 all day. Do you ever just lob one up to give yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. I might throw a block or something, but generally it's I play what happens.
Yeah, but you're throwing 12 bags against yourself, so yeah, you're
should be a pretty
you're
clean board.
strategically throwing a block.
Yeah.
And I like that because you're trying to position it in the right spot. I also found it very interesting that you guys talk like Josh, you touched on 2 weeks before a big tournament that you guys like really hammer at home and like get in some serious practice. To me, that is very, very smart, because cornhole is a game that you can get into your head so fast if you just throw constantly.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys take that 2-week approach and like really hammer in some practice right before, like it's just an interesting approach. I haven't really like heard many people talk that way about like really like honing in just before a national or something and like trying to bring it home. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys kudos, because that's a smart way of approaching it.
Yeah. And I mean, so our Christmas was a little different this year. We went to Key Biscayne as a family. The kids decided that they wanted a beach trip in Florida above presents. They got, Santa still came and whatnot, but they sacrificed presents for beach trip. So I didn't even throw much before the conference until that final week. But kind of like you said, man, I was there throwing pretty bad in the practice routines, but I just told myself, man, I just need to get these reps, because I know I'll figure it out, especially when a tournament comes, I'll figure it out normally. But yeah, you got to get in while you can, because there's no replacement for time on the boards. Everyone needs a break, but you got to get your time in. So,
Josh,
Yeah.
I think you were the first pro that ever talked about using Ghost, like defense, especially. I think you guys used to play a lot. Do
yeah,
you still do that a lot, or do you find like like you've kind of moved away from that?
yeah, I don't play as much. If sometimes I'll put, like I had a challenge like a month or two ago where I made myself play Ghost 10 every single day, and I had to beat a Ghost 10 once a day because I told myself you have to be elite once a day. And I guess I got tired of doing that, or I missed a day. It was like going to the gym. I was in the gym every day, and then all of a sudden I missed a couple of days. But no, I don't. I normally do freestyle, kind of like what Eddie was saying. There's even times where like I can put 2 bags right on top of the hole, and I could slide through it for a 12. But I'll tell myself, you need to throw this last bag and leave all that stuff. I don't know if you ever do that.
No, I do.
Whereas like you could clean your bags up for a 12 and feel good about it, or you could find a unique way to challenge yourself. So you almost get bored just throwing slides.
I will say a big thing that I try to do every practice. I always try to leave it on a good note. I never try to leave a practice frustrated with something.
Yeah.
I always try to finish it. I've been playing long enough. I know when I'm starting to get worn out or just mentally tired. So I make sure to finish it on a good round where I felt good throwing and just call it that. Because if I leave frustrated and I threw really bad at the end, that's all I'm going to worry about leading up to it.
I will tell players, pretty much bridging off that, is like there's been times where I'm in the shop and I'm really tired. I'm like, you know what, screw this. I need to go to bed. But then I go, you know what? How many times in tournaments do I fall out of a singles and I'm like, damn, I just ran out of gas. Try to challenge yourself in your worst moments to force yourself to beat whatever your ghost is, whatever you want to do. Try to find a way to like be like, you know what, I'm really tired. This is the perfect time to try to figure out, can I get through this, or do I just throw the towel in and quit? So I try to use fatigue training almost a little bit nowadays because getting tired is a big part of what I go through these days late in tournaments. So
Oh yeah, I mean those tournaments are like just meat grinders. Jesus, I mean,
Well, here, so talking about
this
like
year's
the
gonna be
mental
even
aspect,
worse.
I'm sure you guys have probably seen at least the match versus with Alex Hicks beats Matt Guy, right? Like
Yeah.
you guys are 2 high level fucking pros who can stroke, right? With the best of them.
Mhm.
In your opinion, how impressive was that match in general?
No, I mean,
Was that the best
fantastic.
match you've ever seen?
I mean, I was
Top 5?
sitting there and halfway through the match, I called, Caitlin over and I'm like, you got to watch this. This is just insane. The last match I saw that was Birchfield against Holland, which
Right.
was
Literally, I've made the argument that match was better than the Matt Guy Alex Hicks, only because it had a little bit more drama to it. Because Birchfield fell way back. I mean, Holland was sitting at 19 or 20 for 20 rounds almost, and Birchfield battled back. So there's a little, I mean, Matt Guy, Alex Hicks, went back and forth. I mean, it just, to me, it's just preference, I guess. But Josh, what did you think of that match?
Yeah, it was insane. So I watched that Baby Goat versus Goat live, and I didn't get to watch the Birchfield one live, so I'm a little more biased. Ironically, they had the exact same number of bags thrown, I think. So the game was just as epically long and challenging. But like you said, the back and forth seemed to be, I don't know, like it was just more even the whole way through against Matt and Alex. I don't know, man. I got to give it a nod to the fact that one guy's, how old is Matt? 50 something? Yeah. One guy's 50 something. One guy's been alive for 40 years longer than the other opponent. So I'm just like, that somehow played a role, but it's hard to call one better than the other, but
I think Alex Hicks' composure to be able to just mentally get,
so
you know why? He's 12. He has no responsibilities. We interviewed him.
It's true.
And I'm like, what are you thinking about? And he's like, I just throwing bags just down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, he has nothing else in this world matters except for throwing a cornhole bag at the hole. Matt Guy's thinking, I'm like, all right, if I win this, there's next month's car payment. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of shit can creep into your head. This kid was just stroking,
I-
and he beat Matt Guy in his own game. Let me ask you guys'
Yeah.
opinion. You guys can both
Yeah,
go
I
bag for
think-
bag with anyone. Would then not have crossed your mind after 30 rounds? Maybe try to block him.
You get stuck though, you know.
Yeah,
Like
you get-
like what
so-
you and Doug Zapp played
So
crazy. Game.
So I've played some wild games. I've never, that was just insane. But I think at a certain point with Matt Guy, a lot of people eventually, when you do beat him, he pushes you to play his game,
Yeah.
and it's just who's on a little bit more. And I think Matt had a little more pressure to win that game because it was such an epic game, and by the end of it, he's
Yeah.
thinking, I can't lose to him. I can't lose to somebody
He's the
that's 40
GOAT.
years
He's been
old.
throwing 11.35 at tournaments. You know what I mean? He's supposed to win that game.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, I think all the pressure in the world was on him. That's what I mean.
You know,
Don't get
and-
me wrong. Any other day, Matt Guy probably wins that match. Maybe
Yeah,
is
and
it
I mean-
is it a one-time thing? I don't know, but who cares? I mean, it's crazy that 12-year-old can be that good.
Yeah, man, I've got my own. I think what we've seen from multiple genders, multiple ages, I think that there used to be this concept in cornhole that people thought that there could be advantages if you were in a certain demographic and whatnot. I think what some of these ladies have done and what Alex has done and these other kids have just tore down any preconceived
Yeah,
notion
I
that
agree.
you have any advantage in cornhole based on age or
Look
or
at
gender,
Caleb
anything.
included.
yeah.
Good
So I mean,
for
I think it was pretty cool for the sport to see what they did. But for me, Alex, the way he could go 10 minutes of stroking 12s and still hit the flop when it finally came up, that was the most impressive part of the game to me.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Because
so
everyone-
crazy.
Everyone knows that feeling when you have this cookie cutter airmail come up and you're like, I haven't thrown a damn airmail in 10 minutes. So I have no idea what that's going to feel
Yeah.
like. And he still managed to hit the shot. So it's just crazy.
I mean, I think the craziest part of that match for me was just how furious the pace was. I mean, what was that match? 52 rounds or something?
47
rounds in 55 minutes.
184 bags or something
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
that's like in 55 minutes, that's unreal. Those guys were literally just walking back and forth, just four bagging, like the majority of that match. It was incredible to watch. So, I mean, I went back because we actually argued about this on the episode the other day. But I went back and watched the Birchfield match, and I actually agree with Sean. That one was a little bit more tension filled. There was bigger shots in it, but again, it's still you're watching Alex Hicks, 12 years old, throwing against the GOAT. That's the drama. That's all that match needed was that drama.
Yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from the virtual game because that was an incredible match as well. And like you said,
Yeah.
Trey being down and being able to pretty much stop Josh Holland, who was a machine that day.
To me, it's
What-
like we could categorize them two different ways. Like one's the greatest comeback that I've seen on the boards in
Well,
corner.
Birchfield still lost.
I know,
I
but like
think it would've
still,
been-
like it was just like I mean, it was just such a battle. Like I don't know, like to me, like that was the battle in itself was just it was movie worthy.
So I think if Birchfield wins the game, the conversation is a little different.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But I don't think anybody had seen a game that long on a live stream. Where it was
Correct.
actually viewed, and I think that's what's so great about both those games is, now we're able to see these, 42 round games, just crazy games.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, not to harp on it. I mean, the only reason I give the nod to like the Birchfield match, it's just it was impressive to me also on Holland's part that you could go, all right, I'm hot as shit, I'm smoking this dude, and oh shit, he's coming back. We've all been there, right? You've all been in that match like where you felt like you couldn't miss, and you maybe lose a few rounds, and you're like, oh shit, they started feeling it. Like I gotta find it now. And then he was able to do it. You know what I mean? Like when it came down to it, he was able to kind of capture it. So like I just like that kind of the up and down but
Yeah.
both matches were just incredible. So I wanted to give your guys feedback on what your thoughts were, and I mean it's pretty impressive stuff.
So time to go into it.
Yeah.
I think we got to talk about this draft.
Yeah, so Eddie,
I mean,
you're
hot
you're
topic.
the captain, okay, of Team Cutters. Okay. Now, first of all, where was that in
Ooh.
ranking of team names? All right.
Um, I mean, I feel like when my choice came around, I felt like it was the better choice of names.
Was Gushers there?
I don't think Gushers was
All
there.
right, good, because that's the best team name, hands down.
I went with Cutters because I think Josh will tell you I cut around bags a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes sense.
So,
I know it does. It makes sense. I like it. So you see, did you do any research before this? Did you strategize? Like, did you talk to these guys about like their opinions on players? Like, what was your strategy going into it?
So I will tell you, I 100% strategized all of this, and we had went in. I actually had a pretty good game plan. I know a lot of people ask me how come I didn't get AJ or how come I didn't get Josh. Well, a day before the draft, I was notified that Caleb could actually play in this event. Leading up to it, I was told Caleb was not allowed to play. And so,
Because of age, right?
because of his age,
Is he
they didn't realize
turning 18?
So is he no longer
considered
considered a junior player then?
Well, they didn't realize that he was 16 and they thought he was still 15.
Okay, I got you.
All right. So
And I think 16 is the cutoff. And so,
For what reason? I don't know.
For gambling.
Yeah. I mean, and so it was kind of kind of threw me for a little loop on who to grab and who to get. But no, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I know a lot of people are like this and that.
Well, let me ask you, can I just get it out of the way? So it made sense when I saw Caleb was eligible, when I did like my little pre-draft. I had said, just because I was writing an article and I wanted to kind of make it funny, I said that you were going to pick Josh as like a nod to Texas local. But in my other section, I'm like, you're just going to take, you got to take your pro partner in that situation, I think. So
yeah.
Right.
you're coming back, right? You picked an ACL rookie in Noel Almanza. Was that your strategy the whole way, or like, I'm just curious? I mean, Josh is sitting there right now. Here, get this out of the way. I want to just
Well, he knows the whole story. I mean, we've talked about it 100 times.
So tell me, it's like, why did you? I mean, you had an opportunity to take either Josh or AJ there. Why did you take Noah? Did you think that they were going to be back? Because if that's the case, I want to hear what Josh says.
Not at all. I didn't think I actually had thought that AJ was going to go sooner than what he went.
Yeah.
Okay.
I 100% thought AJ was going to go sooner. So like I said, when I found out Caleb was eligible the day prior, I had to do some shuffling around. And I had already planned on getting Noah and Doug Zapp. Those were two players I 100% wanted to grab.
Now, do you see them playing together because they play that similar stroke style? They throw the same bag.
They throw the same bag, and
they makes sense.
are both really great players. Dude, I met Noah at the championships and was just blown away by his level of play. He's a very good player.
He's from about, I think, 2 hours west of us.
Yeah,
like he's from the Western Ohio area, but we've seen him at tournaments. Him and his dad are both phenomenal players.
And it worked out the way I wanted to. Doug was somebody I also wanted to get, and I wanted those two players to play together because their styles are pretty similar. My original plan was, before I found out I could get Caleb, was to get AJ. But there was no way I was going to leave Caleb on the table. I felt like if I skip Caleb, he goes before I can get him again.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think somebody
pull up his team real fast. I just wanted to see who.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wrote up the entire draft.
Yeah, so I do like I think your first 7 picks are really solid. I think Tyler Parent is very underrated. I think because he's West Coast, he doesn't get enough exposure. But him and Brevin Valdivia are both are stud players. I think John Fuentes is an excellent doubles player. Fuentes is an excellent double.
I will say Tyler recently made his way into Texas a few months ago.
Okay.
And was actually at a tournament me and Josh were playing together, and threw absolutely incredible. I mean, what would you say? He played
Oh yeah,
phenomenal.
he was actually playing with Tegan. Did you say that?
Yeah, he was throwing with
Yeah.
Keegan.
Okay.
By the way, shout out to Deborah Odom and Tegan. I think they're going to be one of the most underrated female teams
Oh, 100%.
out there. Vanessa Fillingham and Chelsea Hubbard as well. I mean,
Okay.
we got some pretty good female teams, you know, with some Texas talent. Anyways, side note. But yeah, Tyler Craner was throwing out of his
We'd
mind. I think
love to hear it.
I never thought he would be throwing that well with the carpetbags. So I think he's throwing at a very high level right now.
Yeah.
So
I
And
think
so,
Whitney
oh,
Martinez was a steal later where you got her. I think she's very underrated as a female player. And listen, if you guys have to try to get sponsors and stuff for your team, she's marketable,
Money.
big time marketable.
so I've
Oh, yeah.
watched her play a little bit, and I've seen her throw really, really, really well.
you got her, right?
I got her, and
You have Tyler?
I have Tyler.
Okay.
Uh,
I haven't looked at the teams all the way.
you know, Josh just mentioned Deb Odom, and I will pretty much say most of the tournaments she's played in the last few months, she has probably averaged a 10 throughout the entire tournament.
She's
yeah.
nuts.
Just playing out. She's playing incredible.
Do y'all know that name by chance?
I've heard it a few
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Man, you're going to hear it this season in the women's division, especially.
Okay.
So she's like a 10-time state horseshoe champion.
Yeah.
Just one of the most competitive women I've ever met in my life.
She came around us like 3 years ago and vowed that she would get to where we were. And, you know, we kind of politely were like, okay, well, it's a great goal. And she made pro this year. And then she started beating high level players, throwing, like he said, 10 O's. But she says something, she means it, man.
Okay.
She's the real deal.
All right.
I like it.
I like
the
it. I mean, hey,
tenacity.
listen, I like the
Yeah.
insider info. I mean, that's for sure. It's going to be helpful for.
That's a good pick, man.
Yeah.
You have some good picks that people don't know, but we know, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
You got
what
some
I
good
think is
picks.
interesting, especially after. So let's say after the first 7 rounds, right? I think
Yeah.
pretty much most of those names are going to be relatively known. But once you get on there, I think you see a lot of regional picks. You know what I mean? People that you guys are
Yeah,
going to be familiar and comfortable with. That again, we might. I thought you got an unfair shake, right? From I don't know if you paid attention at all to like the grades that Trey and all them are giving, because
So-
I definitely did not agree with some of their grades. I didn't agree with the grade they gave you.
So I'll be honest with all of that. They've been grading me crazy my entire career in this. So I take all that with a grain of salt.
Okay.
As you should.
Yeah. We talked about it last week. It wasn't an episode that we posted. It's just like on our Patreon account, like a bonus episode we did with some people, and we talked about that last week about the grades and all that kind of stuff, and how I strongly disagree with Trey and most of their takes. I thought your team was much stronger than, especially your top 7. I would put them against anybody. Top 7, top 8 people.
Yeah.
You go fine. I mean, that's who did you end up getting in the PDC draft?
I got Ryan Fillion.
Okay, he's a Texas boy, right?
Yeah, he's one of our local guys. I got Sam Finley's mom,
Okay.
and then
What's her name, man?
I gotta pull it up.
You know, Sam Finley.
Mrs.
So-
Finley.
So the funny thing about this is I was literally playing conference, trying to play events while doing this draft.
Hey, we're driving to Arkansas, asking him questions, and then he's like not answering. We turn around, he's looking at his phone. He's like, I'm trying to draft people. But we're going to that conference, and we're driving to Arkansas, and he's in the back of the truck just drafting people.
Yeah. And then I also got Andrew Clark.
Okay.
Okay.
He former ACL pro, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. I think he has he was part of a podcast network called the Washed Up Network or something like
I
that.
think you're right.
He's
Yeah.
still on TikTok, isn't he?
Yeah. I think-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's got a big following. Yeah, I know who he is.
So, I mean, I think, you know, the whole draft, you know, I was talking to AJ and Josh and, you know, going through those things. And I mean, we all understand that Josh is like, I don't envy you at all. I'm glad I didn't have to do this draft. It's
Yeah.
9 hours long. I think it'll be great for the sport. I do.
I think so too.
I think it'll be a fun ordeal. You know, and I think after the first, you know, 2 or 3 rounds, you're looking at who is still
Yeah.
kind of available. And, I felt like I was able to grab some really good players that, have a great mentality of the game and, will be great to play with. And, kind of have my style of play. Just, I'm not a loud, outspoken person. I just play the game to the best I can. And, I kind of like seeing other people do that as well.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you? What did you think of this whole team event? And be honest, like, where did you think you were going to get drafted? Like, are you happy with where you were the first pick in the 4th round, or did you think that you deserved to go in the first 2 rounds?
I think you were the last pick in the 3rd round, personally.
Or 3rd round? Was that what it was?
No,
Well,
I'm just
all
kidding.
right,
They just threw
So I
them
was
both
on
up.
a snake draft. I was
You're first pick of the 3rd round.
First pick
yeah,
of the 3rd round. That's what I'm sorry. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I always
and
forget because how they listed it. They listed the captains as like that first round.
Yeah,
Right. And I
was
look at my pick as the same as the end of the second because I was on the snake part. So I just look at it as the second, third, whatever. But no, I think, based on, I will say this though. I do think that my value in this team event is much higher than if you rank me on just singles play. I think singles play, AJ and myself, underperformed in singles last season. Yet if you evaluate us on a doubles ranking, that'd be putting us in the top 20.
Yeah.
Because normally, if you look, I haven't looked at this, but I would be willing to bet that if you look at who's a team that it's in the top 10 of doubles that neither player was in the top 30 of singles. I don't know how many of those guys are out there yet. That's where me and AJ fell. So I do think that both of us,
I would just say, where does Zaft and Hadley finish?
they're what top? Were they in the top 10 or were they like 11th or 12th?
That's what I was
They're
trying
in
to
the
think.
top 15 for
Yeah,
sure.
they were for
Okay.
sure in the top.
I just didn't know
And I
where
don't
they
know
finished in
either
singles.
player
Yeah.
was. Yeah, they
I'm just trying to think of you posed the question. I'm just trying to think if there's anyone that came to my mind right away, and just not really.
I mean, to play off your point too, we've been harping on that this whole time about this draft and like the benefit of having great doubles players. It's a whole different beast when it comes down to doubles. So why is everyone looking at singles performances?
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
That was top 20 or not even top 30. Yeah. No, I think it's a cool thing for the game and the sport. You can't get caught up with draft picks. Before this whole thing started, I think Eddie and I talked for 30 minutes every other day about this. And at the end of each conversation, I always tried to make sure that I was like, hey, I know you have picks to make. So I'm not looking for a charity pick. If you think something makes more sense on paper, you got to go that route. And I also made sure to always tell them that I'm glad I don't have to do what you're having to do.
Yeah.
It's a good honor. I would do it if I were in this position, but it's definitely a lot of stress because, hell, I don't even like picking people at birthday parties. Like, pick your team. I hate that, team captain, because it just, I don't know, you feel bad for people sometimes. And then you're like, oh, man, you get down to those last few picks, it feels kind of rough. But I think the ACL.
Do you like who picked you?
Oh, yeah, man. Ryan, yeah. Ryan, I've had some good conversation with Ryan Smith on multiple nationals, and I really think that if he were like in this area, I think we'd be pretty good friends off the court.
Oh, yeah.
The way he handles himself and the way he carries himself is seems to be in line with how what I appreciate in like a friend. So I think we have some pretty good shooters. I know we have 2 pure sliders with Bill Hadley, Matt Guy, 2 of the most open board sliders in the game. As far as matchups, I don't really know where we're going to put who, but I like what we have, man. Ryan's always in the mix for a good reason. And I can't think, I'm happy to be a part of that team for sure.
Honestly, I think you might have my no offense to you, Eddie, but you might be a part of the my favorite top 10 drafted team.
Let's go.
Yeah, honestly, I thought he did a really good job with the comeback. It's not an easy place to be. I mean, we play fantasy football. We know that spot's not easy, but I really thought he did a good job with getting some good people coming back. I mean, to me, Jay Corley might be the steal of the draft to me.
Jay's underrated. I said that
as
too.
as a doubles player, yes, I would completely agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's so good.
He's finished top 10 2 out of the last 3 years, and I think top 15
Yeah.
all 3 years as a doubles
Hey,
player.
so I would compare it the way Jay plays doubles. I don't know. I feel like it's comparable to me. Like I seem to put my best game out there in doubles every time. Like I have my moments in singles, but and I think that's where some of these guys made some mistakes on the drafts. Was that they were evaluating players purely on singles play
Correct.
and kind of forgetting the vibe. Like, well, man, that guy's a beast in doubles, So like,
Yeah.
I think some of that happened.
Well, Eddie, you drafted John Fuentes, his partner last
Hey,
year.
so
Same
I was
exact thing, man.
Yeah,
I
John
was
a
just
beast in
fixing to
doubles.
say John Fuentes, in my opinion, was one of the best doubles players.
Yeah.
He can really turn it on playing doubles.
Well, and he's steady. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean?
He's
Like,
a smart player.
He's down the middle.
I had a lot of insight during the draft from John. When I got John, he immediately messaged me and was like, "Hey, here's some insight of some players in my area as well, and Tyler Perrin as well. I'm from the South West Conference. I know a lot of players in this area, but they know a lot of players in their areas that are very good as well.
Yeah.
And I do feel like my team probably is mainly, West players, but that was because I had a lot of insight from those two guys as well.
I think it's a nod to Texas though, is that you guys, including yourself, because you're technically a first round pick, I guess if you want to call it captain. I think you guys are the first state to have 4 people drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's a good nod. I think you guys getting better respect, right, than what you guys would have gotten like 2 years ago.
Oh man.
Oh, we've grown up. Yeah, it's really. I think we can all say COVID really pushed a lot of younger players to the next level, really quickly, and really since COVID has hit, there's been some fantastic players come out and be extremely competitive.
Well, okay, so we talked about this before we started recording, right? We kind of alluded to it's a young man's game now. What advantages? I think I know, but I want to hear from you guys. What advantages does somebody that is like, let's say like 18 years old, right? Why do you think that they're able to become so much better faster than somebody in your guys' situation?
I think in my situation, and I think Josh can say the same, just, working a full-time job and having a family. And I have a fairly new family. So, I have a baby that I'm trying to be I want to be involved in her life as much as possible. And just, my goal is, make sure she has everything I didn't have. And so I'm, trying to do my best at that aspect of things right now. I just don't. I think if I was 19 years old again, when I first started playing the game, if the game was where it is, I would probably play all over as much as I can. There's just no way I can do that now.
Yeah, I get it. Believe me, I get it. That's why I've played like 2 tournaments like the last 5 months. Like I completely get it. I mean, you guys still. I mean, hats off to you guys. I mean, you guys still fit in your guys' schedule. I mean, obviously, I know it's a big part of it. I mean, it's a job for you guys as well. How close are you guys personally to being able to be like, I can do this full time? Are we still 5 years off? Are we still? Because I consider you guys like perfect range. You guys have always finished somewhere top. I mean, Eddie, Josh, you guys have both been real high, but you guys steady 10 to 20, right?
Yeah.
How close are we to seeing like the top 20 players be able to do this full time for a living, not have to do anything but focus on cornhole?
You'd have to compare it to like the national income average. It's going to be case by case for everybody.
Yeah.
For example,
let's say 100K. 6 figures. Most people. Now, I'm not saying that's just your income. I'm not saying if your wife works, great, whatever. Let's say 100,000. Most individuals would feel pretty comfortable with. How close are we to that?
I think if the top 10 players in singles are really putting the work in, maybe have some talent agencies and whatnot, the top 10 players can all achieve that mark in 3 years from now?
Yeah.
The top 5 can already do it. So, and there's some guys that are knocking on that door, and to be honest, the top 10 in doubles are definitely closer to that side of it, probably than the other half of that. So I'd say 3 years if you want top 10 to hit that number. You think that's fair?
Yeah, I think 3 years.
3 more years based on what we've seen. Now, I will tell you this. We did see some monumental contracts go out from bag manufacturers that have kind of been iffy on being held up. So did we take a step backwards? Did bag manufacturers overextend themselves? I don't know. We're going to have to figure that one out.
Or did players rush into situations because they saw a check and then they realized, oh shit, I can't throw this fucking thing. I mean, we've seen it a few times.
Yeah, you don't even have to say the names. Everyone watches the news. So, 3 more years, though, and you're starting to get, your top 10 are making significantly more than the American average, for sure.
No, I agree.
But, yeah. And it's going to vary case by case on whether it makes sense. For example, like, BG Cornhole, whatever, there's probably a good reason the owners still don't do it full time, So for everybody, you may have a different situation work-wise where, for someone, they're like, oh, I can never go full time in cornhole because I'm doing this well in this area.
Yeah.
So
Oh, exactly.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because then do we just use cornhole as like supplemental, and then will you be able to take both of those over? So I mean,
my goal is to retire at 45 from my personal work, and then if God willing, if I'm healthy, I can really go as full blown into cornhole as possible because my kids will all be pretty, quite a bit older by then. They'll pretty much be gone. So, but
or they won't want to hang out with dad anymore. I mean, something like that.
Yeah, or we'll be playing together. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, or you'll be playing together.
Sorry.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's exciting to think about. Yeah, I mean, because for the sport to get bigger, you guys got to get paid more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what the sport needs is an influx of non-cornhole related sponsors to start sponsoring you guys, because there's only so much money from these bag sponsors, and all 256 of you guys are all competing for the same, realistically 15, 20 sponsors. I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's why it's feast.
Yeah, we've talked about, how hard it is to stay with the bag manufacturers that are wanting to pay that. You have one bad year, they could potentially drop you totally and say, we're looking at some younger talent that, did slightly better than you this year. So it's no guarantee. And, you don't really see anybody, writing out these long-term contracts either.
I think that's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only one that we can really think of right now is Jamie Graham and Matt Guy. They signed a longer term contract. I think that's going to be the norm going forward for maybe the top 10, 20 players. I think that, the lower tier players are still going to have to go year to year. But if you think about it, as professional players, I mean, that's like another full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, I mean, trying to find sponsors and stuff. I think it sounds like, I know you guys a lot of your sponsors are regional based, you know what I mean? I mean, you obviously get to know your sponsors and that helps, but ultimately until we start getting bigger corporate sponsors in the game, you're going to be capitalized. I mean, because you guys are both so busy, you have kids and full-time jobs and you're trying to practice. Have you guys ever considered using some sort of management group to try to find sponsors and help you guys manage?
I just think I just don't think the game is there yet to where a management group, can be fully used to their potential.
Yeah, the numbers got to make a lot of sense. If you tell a management company that your minimum, for a contract is going to be 10 grand or something, then you can kind of realistically work with them. But if they're, just trying to take a piece of the pie on something you can do yourself, well, then it's a little trickier. But there's going to come a time where eventually they're going to be able to connect you with people that you simply can't get in front of.
Yep.
I just don't know when exactly it's going to be. You know, Matt and Brett got the Bud Light, and I've seen a few other. I know John Kitchens had like an LG Electronics sponsorship somehow the last couple years, and I've seen some Kellogg's Pop Tart Bites, type
Dude,
stuff.
those are from our
Double
boys from
true.
AR. Yeah, hell yeah, those are our boys from
Sometimes corporate.
AR1 Cornhole. Shout out to AR1 Cornhole, Pop Tart Bites. They
DJ,
fed
what's
everyone
going
at our bar at at Nationals. So we
Absolutely.
There you go.
appreciate that. Yeah, hell yeah. So Josh, you moved on from last time you were on. We talked about you moved on from BG. Now you're throwing TC boards. How you liking the bags? How's the adjustment going? You're
Yeah,
smiling.
man. Yeah, the
Eddie's
adjustment's
laughing.
well, yeah. No, the adjustment's been great. For me, you know, beyond the regular materials of the actual bag fabrics, the resin's actually been pretty key to me being comfortable. So it turns out that, you know, in my early days, Reynolds had a flatter bead, something that would kind of pack in your hand a little tighter, and that actually was a big part of my success. And I was a little more uncomfortable with the rounded BB resin. Keep in mind that all the manufacturers have changed things over the years. I know BG's got some much like a newer mix that's actually
Okay, all right. Josh is not trying to shit on anybody, so just it's okay. You're good. You're not trying to shit. We're not trying to be mean to anybody. You can talk. It's all right. It's all good.
Yeah, no, but hey, for real though, I think that I'm throwing
Rich,
it.
he doesn't like you. All right, it's fine. He's just trying to say he's being around, but I'm just fucking.
Yeah,
I'm messing
and the
with you.
funny thing is, Rich and I still talk daily. Like we're
Oh, he's a
actually
good
probably
guy.
closer. We're probably closer now without me being with BG. So
Listen,
I mean,
it's business, right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
get it. Like there's a situation. I'm happy that you like it. What are you throwing recently? We just got in our hand the revamped Monster bag, which is nice. Reminds me of a certain bag from another company.
I'm not gonna say who.
I'll say it's like a BG wizard esque, or maybe it's more like a warlock, I guess you can say. But I like it. It feels nice, just different fill. Listen.
Yeah,
I agree with
really.
you. I like TC board fill better than BG. I think BG
Yeah.
is ahead of the curve in finding some fabrics sometimes. I don't. I
Right.
personally don't like their fill.
Yeah,
I
and
want to because they're fucking made in Ohio. I mean, Jesus Christ, they're made 20 minutes from the road. I want
hey,
to.
Houston now though.
They're,
Really?
they're mainly
Oh.
Houston now.
Eddie said the best ones
Not
come
the good
from
look, not the good looking ones though.
Nope,
Nah,
the
man.
best come from them.
Hey, but no, you hit it on the head. The resin has been the biggest part for me, and I found out throughout years of playing that the resin actually means the most to me out of every element of the bag, the shape, the materials, whatever. The resin's actually what makes me the most comfortable. So it's not the same for every player, but no, that monster bag has been pretty helpful for us to get comfortable. Still like the Revolution, but the monster gives us a little more diversity in the shot selection.
So I thought the Revolution would be way too. That's my favorite bag, by the way. Like right now, that's what I threw at the last regional. What I thought that'd be way too fast for you guys.
Yeah, it actually slows up quite a bit in humidity, and I had
Yeah.
a little process where I would break mine in a certain way and slow them down.
Okay.
Would you like throw them in honey or something?
Can we talk
Like-
this off the mic then?
No, it was all legal.
I know.
It was all legal with an L. But yeah, no, I had, you know, to be honest though, what you don't realize is like a lot of these top guys, they've got methods of breaking their bags in that,
Oh, I'm
you
sure.
know, it's all legal. It's all legal as long as you're not leaving substances and stuff on the board and whatnot. You know, I've seen people take anything from, you know, sandpaper. You've seen these bag shavers, right? These things that are cutting the
Yeah.
hairs off the bag. So there's a million ways to condition a bag, and you really can't be like, well, how different is that from Joe Blow that throws on rough gravel road versus the smooth concrete? He's also getting a different vibe out of his bags. So, but yeah, the bottom line is AJ's cut shot is a million times better with the monster bag, and that's
Okay.
a big part of the game.
Yeah.
So it's helped him a ton. I feel like I'm about the same either way because the resin meant the most to me.
Okay.
Um,
Do you like a looser feeling bag?
I'm kind of in the middle of the road,
Okay.
like a medium.
Okay.
I used to like a fatter bag, and I changed my grip to try to get that round resin figured out last season. And ever since I did that, I actually like a looser bag now. Weirdly enough,
Okay.
but it's more of a medium. I don't like it to be too loose because then I can't get any torque.
We'll give you a quick shout out here for my birthday. For Christmas, Dane got me a set of bags. It was actually the Josh Groce TC Revolutions.
Oh man, that's one
panda.
of our best sellers.
Fuck yeah, hell yeah, man. That's what I'm
Eddie's
saying.
like, all right, next. Eddie said next time.
Moving
next
on.
time. All right.
Moving on.
Hey, so back to BG.
Eddie, what
Hey,
are
we're
you
still
feeling
on the
from?
winning team.
What are you throwing from BG right now?
Are you still throwing the wizard, or what do you like the most?
I still throw the wizard.
Now, have you gotten your hands on the new ones like the Supernova and the Halo?
Sean, look who you're talking to.
I know. I just want to hear. What you're saying.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of everything.
What do you think about the? All right, let's start with the Supernova since that's available to everyone.
I mean, so my personal preference, and I throw wizards because that style fits me the best.
Well, okay, let's break down the bag. You're doing a bag review right now. What don't you like? What doesn't a Supernova do? Because I know that material. It's a sliding carpet, though. I mean, it doesn't kick very much. It's very forgiving. So if you don't throw a flat bag, I feel like it really levels out nicely.
No, I agree. It's just a faster bag. With that particular bag, I mean, I feel like you lose certain shots. For me, I throw fairly hard, and so I lose, my hard cut shots. I mean, it's not a terrible bag. It's just not my preference of a bag.
I got you.
If-
So then
if
the
I'm gonna
Halo's got to be
choose-
way too fast.
It's too fast for me.
Yeah.
And the Halos are it's a different bag.
It's unique. I liked it. I threw it. I liked it a lot.
So-
I mean, but I like faster bags though.
So they are faster, but they do slow down.
Yeah.
In a little bit of humidity, to where you can hit certain shots. I know some people here that love those bags.
It's like a poor man's revolution. We'll call it that way.
They're I would compare them.
It's like a poor man's revolution.
Now I would say the opposite, but
I don't like the Halo, but I think I have bags from all manufacturers I don't like. So.
Yeah.
I think so. For me though, the Halo was thick, but like you said, some people love it. It just depends who you are, really.
It really
some
does.
people love them. I think it's my personal preference. I'm either going to throw Vikings or Wizards.
I like the Wizard speed. Again, it's just, for me personally. I get why most people like BG bags. Like they're very hole forgiving. They make good, fabric combination. I completely get their templates are clean. For me, it just came down to a fill thing. But if I had to throw materials together, yeah, I agree. The Wizard is like the best combination. Like you have a good slick side that's going to clean anything up and makes the bag super forgiving. And the carpet bag it's still slick. You can slide it all day, but it also still will grab the board when you need it to. So I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's the best bag of their arsenal.
And I think Josh will say the same thing. It's just really when I started throwing Wizards, my entire game changed. And I started throwing, much better.
That herringbone is a very unique fabric.
Yeah.
That chevron, that herringbone. So
Listen
that's
to
why
him
you see a
with
lot
all
of
his
brands are
terms.
using it now.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know your fabrics.
He does.
Calling it
Right.
chevron and herringbone. Look at you.
Well, I think that material, and then I'm not gonna say the material name, but the material that they use for Surefire. All right, it's on 12 different bags now. I think those are probably the two most common material that you're gonna see on a bag. My favorite material, the reason I like the Revolution so much is the slow side material on the Revolution. That's my favorite material. It's similar to like a Pro Sniper, but it's not the same material. It's actually like the reverse side of like a Widow. It's like that material, but once it breaks down, it just becomes such a good fabric.
It's all right, Eddie. I'm still here with you. I threw league with
I was like,
EA, and we
I
threw
thought
some
I was
warlocks.
invited on this.
I don't have to say anything. He got me covered on it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his
Hey, I
bags.
thought
though.
Josh was a Philly.
I mean, I had the privilege of throwing with EA and League this fall, and got to throw the Warlocks a couple times.
He had to throw them back to him.
Yeah, literally. I mean, he's that good. He was carrying me for a while. Eric, I know you listen, and you still skipped out on me for the championship week, so I'll never forgive you for that. But besides that, I will say EA with the dark slide in his hand. Man, that was he was throwing those things with some gas, and I'm becoming a fan of the dark slide now, which was
So,
something
so
that was not in my arsenal.
oddly enough, I was able to get my hands on a set of dark slides right after the championships. That Caleb had gone up to the shop here in Houston and got me a set, and of course, he got me a set without the pro stamp on it, because why not? But the best feeling dark sides I've ever thrown. I was able to control them. They played great. I just haven't been able to replicate that particular bag. When they slow down, they are actually pretty controllable.
Very much so. Yeah, I was surprised at how controllable they became. Because honestly, they're sitting probably right around like a 5 for the slow side, where we were playing at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't bad at all. So yeah, there's the BG 2 cents in there for you. No worries.
All right, we'll stop with the bag.
Yeah, we're at a
here.
TC love affair.
Hey,
Where do you, well, both of
I'm
you guys
PG
last year. Oh, I know.
I'm PG 100% all the way.
I got you. So was Josh last year. It's fine.
Yep. I like to remind him of that all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, where do you guys? So you guys are both coming off of really good double seasons. Where do you guys? What are team expectations this year? I mean, Eddie. I mean, you guys had a really really good year last year. Do you expect better than that, or if you like somewhere close, that's good enough?
No, I mean, I always expect better, and I think Caleb expects better. I think Caleb expects better from himself overall this coming up year. I'm always looking at, getting into the top is always my goal.
Okay.
I finished top 10 my last 3 seasons. And finished, I think, top 10 in doubles my last 2 seasons. So I feel like my next goal is I'm going to really try to push, top 5 inch closer this year if I can.
I like it.
Josh, what about you and AJ?
Yeah, man, I think that our track record kind of speaks for itself. No matter what you see going on from a singles perspective, whatever you can think of, but looking at a bracket, I think that if you count us out, you're just making a mistake.
You guys had some tough draws last year early on too.
Yeah, we did, man. And to be honest, I was uncomfortable a lot throughout that year for various reasons, and we still managed to finish with a 9th place in the country finish. And really, in reality, I was dealing with some stuff at Cobb's where my energy and some other things were very compromised, and I unfortunately couldn't give AJ much. So we actually dropped a few spots to that 9th place. So really, we competed like a top 6 or 7 team all year. Cobb's kind of hurt us.
Okay.
But no, I think we go out. I think we're a top 10 minimum. And I think we actually finally break that ice. And I think we win a doubles tournament this season on a national scale.
There we go.
We've been right there, man. And the thing is, we were driving to Arkansas, so we talked all about all sorts of stuff, all 3 of us. And, I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, there's not more than like 10 unique doubles teams that have won a doubles title in the last 3 pro seasons. That's how hard it is to do. Yeah, you do have your phenom, like your mad guy, Jamie Graham, and I know Brett and Eric won a couple, but aside from that, no one's winning multiple ones. So you can feel like, man, it's been
across multiple seasons.
Yes. So you can feel like, you're not accomplishing what you want because you're not winning, but we're right there, man. We're both of us. They were in the bracket finals multiple times. We had a couple bracket finals. We're literally 2 games away from just getting the thing done. Yeah. And, that's going to be a huge win for the conference and for all the guys in that age demographic for us, man. Like Damon doing what he did was pretty special too.
It's awesome, right?
Last season.
Damon was incredible last year.
Yeah.
I think anybody that's a true watcher of the game knows how special that was for Damon.
Yeah.
To do that.
And the thing is, the last 2 years, he's been pretty damn fucking close to doing it. I I mean, last
Yep.
year finally he like all those close matches he won. But the year before he was right there too. He just lost
Yeah.
a few close matches instead of winning them.
Right.
I mean, so he's been really special the last 2 years. Is he gonna start to slow down? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think with us, man, with me and AJ especially, KB's still coming up. So like him and Eddie have a lot of steam coming into this. But AJ and I have been around for a while, and I think a lot of people will routinely count us out, but then we're always find a way to be there in the end. We always find a way to stay consistent. And even this last conference, man, we got it done to win that conference. And I don't think people had us pick to win that either. And just I don't know, man. We find a way to stay in it always. We have
Well,
a lot of chemistry.
last season I was on a podcast with Isley, right? And he did and we talked before, and he's like, we're not gonna do a draft, and like then he sprung it on us. We're gonna do a draft, right? And
Yeah.
of course we're paying for money. We're gambling a little bit, and little does he tell us he's the only motherfucker with the goddamn fucking teams list and the brackets right in front of him. So we're all picking blind. Well, I picked you and AJ as like my second pick, but then
I
we had to
remember
pick an underdog team, somebody that no one would have maybe heard of. I picked Power and Web. Well, little did I know that I had an Amber Groce message me like 5 hours later saying like
Same bracket.
you realize they play each other like the first
Yeah, it's
round.
the
I'm
first
like,
match.
I was picking
Yeah.
blind. I'm like, Isley was the only one that could see. So I picked. I mean, you guys ended up still doing very well in the losers bracket, making a nice run. It made me look
Yeah,
a
we got
little smart
third-
because you guys
third at
lost
bracket.
to Power and Web that match. So
We lost
it
and
all
then we
worked
put
out
them out
well.
in the next round.
It all
Yeah.
worked out well. So that was.
Yeah,
I just
man.
thought it was funny that that got a shot. Like she's like, "Are you serious? Like you realize that?" I'm like, I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah. I mean, like Eddie said a while ago, people don't like he keeps having these great singles seasons and people continue not to pick him to win stuff. And I mean, in the end, if you count the last 3 or 4 years on a conference level, the singles and doubles titles, they're all within this table basically. Ricky G and Dylan Turpin stole the doubles one time, came in and won one. But I don't know, man. I mean,
They're a
like
team to watch too
consistency.
this year. They started getting consistent at the end of last year. They're a tough team.
They're great, man. No, they're awesome. We've gotten really close with those guys too, as they've
They're good
developed.
players.
And yeah, they're big students of the game, man. They're fun to hang out with, and they're even better players on the court. So
Well, Eddie, I mean, I know you made me happy because I wrote an article last year. I think it was after the first or second national where I was telling people basically, I don't know how much you guys pay attention to it if you're allowed to, but like DraftKings, right? So a lot of the stuff that they're bidding on is how many players or, do you take this player to shoot over this kind of PPR, right? So the bunch of stuff. Well, I told people to predict you that you were going to finish top 5 in PPR and you did. So like it made me look smart, even though no one had you winning an event or going that far. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes I feel like your conference is lost a little bit. So I like reminding people that there's a lot of talent that's still coming through that area.
I'd love nothing more than to see an all Texas final. And
man, that'd be a dream.
yeah,
come
that
true.
I would love every minute of that. It would be awesome.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to some listener questions. I thought there were some pretty good ones. My favorite one has to be this is gonna be it's all right. You have to listen to the question. All right, this is not a bashing of anyone question. Nick Courier wants to know. All right, so let's say Texas secedes from the union, so it's no longer part of the American Cornhole League. All right, do you move from Texas and stay in the ACL, or do you stay in Texas and play TCO? That's a tough question, right? How much do you
that's
love
an
Texas?
interesting one, man.
Yeah.
How much-
I'm born and raised here, man.
Yeah,
so-
I mean,
I can't. That's
I'd
what
have to-
I'm interested to hear what you guys say.
Or can you guys play ACL International?
That's what I was gonna say. I'd
That
have
would be
to
a
lobby
loophole.
to be an international player. Yeah,
I mean, we can all say, both of us can say we got our start in TCL. I mean,
yeah.
I played TCL for years
Yeah.
and years.
And they still have good things going down there, man. There's still tons of talent in that league, and
No, very
I mean,
great talent.
yeah. I mean, I communicate with the owners every so often, and I've told them where I stand. I mean, I would probably still play in the league if it were an open league. You guys know about it, right? Like all the
yeah,
Yeah, for TCL and stuff.
Well, yeah, just like yeah. So I mean, it's kind of hard for us to compete in the league with the way it's set up right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it wouldn't be for any cornhole reason that I would be one way or another. It'd be my family and I are from here. So on that question, I'd be in Texas playing whatever I can play.
That's such a cop out.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely got our start there. So, things were different.
Yeah.
We definitely playing it.
I hear you. No, that's all good.
All right, I think we got to rattle off Josh Zeller's question. All right, so I'm going to ask. I'll start with Eddie. We're just going to do shotgun style questions. Give me what's right at the top of the head. All right. First, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food? I love tacos.
Tacos, beautiful. Drink of choice when playing.
I usually drink Ultra or Miller Lite.
Okay. Good man. Favorite city to travel to?
Favorite city.
That's a hard.
I enjoy to go. I like going to Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
There you go.
Because it's Vegas.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then last question. What's the best form of advice you can give someone?
The best what?
Form of advice you can give someone.
More advice in the game. Don't get down on yourself. Even if you're struggling, just keep working and pull through.
Beautiful. All right, Josh, your turn. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Drink of choice when playing?
On a plane?
Yeah.
If it's a beer, any domestic is fine, but a Coke is my soda of choice.
Coke.
Okay. Coca-Cola, man.
Is everything Coke down there though?
No, there's a Dr. Pepper is crazy down there.
Dr. Pepper is big here.
I just didn't know if you guys were one of those weird areas that called everything Coke. You know what I mean? That's like
no.
No.
I do.
For me, Coke is Coke and Dr. Pepper.
Hey, I'll be like, hey, I need a Coke.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I mean, most people will know what you're talking about. But like, some people refer to like all what we call pop here as Coke.
Yeah, pop. Yeah. What's the other question?
Favorite city to travel to?
Oh hell. Man. I mean, it's kind of a
old station.
You know
You
what?
can stay within Texas.
I'll be honest, Ventura. I know this last one was a little sketchy, but Spencer McKenzie's Ventura is probably one of the coolest places.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah. So Ventura, California.
All right, and then last question is best form of advice.
Never stop trying to mold yourself into the person you want to be. Don't ever settle and decide you're where you want to be. Always come up with a new goal.
There you go.
I feel like you have that like tattooed on yourself.
No, I had to start thinking about it because you asked Eddie.
Why do you think we hang out when I'm struggling? I'm like, hey, Josh, I need some words of advice.
There you go. So I start preaching.
Brian Schurmeister wants to know, as the saying goes, more money, more problems. As cornhole grows and is becoming more popular, what is the biggest problem the game faces, and what's your best fix for it?
Let's see. Payouts.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, Tony Smith won an open in singles and walked away with what, a cool $500.
Nah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, going to South Dakota. I mean, how much to play? I mean, let's call it out. Call it out. It is. You guys aren't going to be able to do this for a living until the payouts are better. Whether that means limiting how much they're paying out to social, or they need to limit how many spots they're paying out. I mean, wouldn't you? And so if you took let's say 20th place in that tournament, you're going to get like $20.
So we've had big discussions, and I feel like at the end of the day, even to increase payouts, I'm okay with a bigger buy-in. If say we pay $40,
spoken like a
if I
true
could pay
gambler,
80 to increase the first place payout, even if I don't lose or even if I don't win, I'm okay with that. The first place deserves to take home a chunk of money.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, but the payouts are troublesome because, I mean, the bottom line is we talked about these numbers, right? What's it going to take to hit this number? Oh, 3 more years. Well, I mean, when the majority of that money is coming from sponsorships, that makes it a little tricky. The earnings have to kick up at a certain point. And they have a big job on their side. The ACL is trying to please everybody, so it's not like it's that easy. But the bottom line is, normally, I've always said, at what point were you guaranteed to get any return from cornhole for mediocre output? It's like,
I agree.
I so there's a lot of that. The other thing that I'll add, though, like a problem with the game, I think there's an increasing amount of people that don't want to have to compete at a high level, and it actually can cripple areas and regions.
I agree.
So there's like specialty events, making events unplayable by players based on skill level. That's actually going on all over the country, and man, it's
worked its way here.
Yeah, it's definitely going on in Texas. And
Was it like
makes
no pros?
Oh yeah,
type
yeah, we
events?
definitely have no pro events. There are areas that are permanently stuck with sort of a, I don't want to use the word corrupt, but like just a version of like either Switch Holio or just some sort of format that almost makes it impossible for the high side to ever win. And if like the goal to win the tournament is to not be throwing the best you can throw, that's an issue. Like how are you? No one's getting better if the goal is to not be the top seed of a certain format.
I agree.
So, and dude, we got people around here purposely throwing like fives and crap just so they get seated correctly to get the best final draw outcome of a tournament. How is anyone getting better when that's what they come into and that's all they can play?
And there's no way to police that though. You know what I mean? Like
I've been hearing it all over the place too.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like now that Switch Holio leagues are coming on, people are starting to figure out, well, if I know I'm not going to be a top 3 seed, like I might as well, go finish at the bottom. I mean, I don't like that. I think it's kind of pussy. I think the biggest thing the ACL needs to worry about right now, it already happened last season, as gambling becomes a bigger part of the sport. There can't be anything that's going wrong that's going to fuck that up. And the whole fixing of scores and, hopefully that's the last, it's not going to be the last we see of it. I'm hoping that's the last time we see something this big. I'm hoping that like Kamba and Stout and all those people that are suspended it's going to be at least a big enough of a deterrent. You didn't know about Stout? Matthew Stout is suspended only from singles events. He's allowed to play doubles.
All season?
All season.
Wow. Is that public?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm behind.
So we actually
you should
talked
listen
about,
to our show.
We talked about before we had you guys on.
Wow.
If you guys had all right, so we've had 100 episodes. And
Eddie,
I'm not trying to toot anybody's horn here. All right, so just stay calm. Josh and AJ, the first time we had you guys on, that was our most downloaded episode ever. Because I don't know if you remember, after the call, we told you what we had said in the episode before. That's when we dropped the Kamba knowledge that he was getting suspended. So that episode is like monster, like downloads and stuff. But it was an episode after that we talked about.
It was probably us, though.
I mean, part of it. I mean, maybe
I
talk about it.
I hear you,
No, I mean, Texas, we have a big following in Texas, though. So I think that does. I mean, even Eddie, I mean, your top 10 episode. I mean, we're having you on episode 100? We weren't just gonna ask anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. I wish I had some party poppers.
Hey, so I had to tell AJ, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be on an episode tonight, and I promise it wasn't planned out this way. Yeah. And he was
it
like,
wasn't.
what?
It wasn't anything. It was literally I was panicking at work. I had you and I had somebody else in mind. I'm like, well, I know they're in the same state. I feel like we'll be able to do a good interview together. I reached out to you first. That's all it was. It was originally supposed to be last week. It was supposed to be 3 captains. It was supposed to be Eddie, Cody Henderson, and Eric Anderson. Eric couldn't make it this week. He was traveling. So we had him on as like a bonus guest, as like one of our Patreon episodes.
Yeah.
And then Cody, it was supposed to be just Cody and Eddie. And I had already kind of figured out some sort of a script. And I'm like, I don't want to add 3 people because sometimes it gets too crowded. So that's the only way. So AJ has no hard feelings. I'll have you on. And AJ was on by himself before anyways, too. So
yeah.
You're all good.
Yeah. You're all even now.
We love him too. And he got talked about plenty last week with Eric.
We're all really, really good friends. So I mean, there's really no.
Like I said, he was here playing cash games before we started this.
I mean, if you want to talk shit, I mean, that's fine. You can. I mean, just be like, we're the reason that all these episodes are. But I mean, we love him too.
Right. Yeah, man.
Let's see. Are there any other good ones?
I mean, did you want to keep tooting the TC horn? So
I wanted to ask you.
it's
So
always a
I
good
was
one.
actually listening to a podcast today, and they asked a guest a question. If you guys had to do a podcast that was not cornhole related, and you guys were the hosts, what would you guys talk about? Like, do you have any other interests that you feel like you could just talk about all the time?
Yeah, I'm cars and computers, so like I'm electronics and automotive. What are
Okay.
you?
So before I got really big into cornhole, I used to train horses.
No shit.
So I'd probably be still doing that if I didn't get really involved in this.
So did you grow up doing that?
Yeah. So I had animals my whole life.
Okay.
I still have horses.
I'm picturing the show Yellowstone. Do you watch that?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm
I do.
picturing right now in my head. Was that you growing
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. No, like I said, I've always had horses growing up. My whole life I was in 4-H and did all that stuff. Did a few rodeos things. Traveled around a little bit. I did that for a long time, pretty much most of my growing up.
Now I
and
know
still
what
have-
4-H is only because of a girl I went to grad school with, was one of my wife and I's best friends, and she did it, and I had no idea, and I thought it was hilarious because like she was from Pennsylvania and she grew up in this farm. That's just not as common around us. So I actually know what that is. So if you would like 5 years ago, would have no fucking clue.
I know what Triple H is,
Yeah.
not 4-H though.
Yeah, no, I did that for a long time, and every once in a while I'll, may take on a horse to train or something, but I don't do it near as often as I used to. That's all I used to do all the time.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
actually a funny story. That's actually how I got involved with cornhole. I was training somebody's horse, and the person was like, "Hey, have you ever played cornhole before?" And after I was done messing with their horse, I started playing the game, and so that's
You win a
kind of worked
national
itself out, I
championship.
guess.
You win a national championship, and Disney's gonna make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
I can see the preview now. You know what I mean? Like I want to write that. That's
I was gonna say you need to write the screenplay.
We could that
Well,
could be
okay,
arranged.
all right,
Sean,
let's
you
stick
got to
with this for
answer
a
that.
second.
What do you?
For a second, just for a second, who would play you, Eddie? If you had to pick somebody to
Oh.
play, hey, Josh, who would you pick to play Eddie?
Oh man. Oh wait, didn't we do this the other day? Yeah, who'd you pick? You picked somebody. It was from some movie. Well, who'd you pick? This question, who asked us this?
AJ asked us this.
Yeah, AJ literally
See,
asked.
damn it, AJ, you should have been here, man. Josh was supposed to share the link with you, and he didn't.
I swear to God, we went to Arkansas. Why do all my sentences start with "we went to Arkansas"? It's because we went to freaking Arkansas and drove 16 hours. But yeah, AJ randomly was like, "All right, Eddie, it's your life in a movie. Who's playing you?" He literally asked that same question. Like, you had an answer.
I didn't say the name.
Hey, you know what? What's messed
It
up
was
is
just something goofy.
AJ had a trash pick for Eddie's wife, though.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
But we all had to pick our wives and like who did I pick? I picked the dude from man, what's that Inception? One of the dark haired dudes. I said that would be me, and I said Jessica Biel would be my wife.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean,
I don't even know the guy's name.
Man,
well, who'd
Oh,
you
no,
pick for
it's
your
the
wife
dude
at
from,
least? The important part.
from
Oh, that goofy show.
yeah, the high school show. Remember?
I can't
High
remember his
school
name
show.
though.
Yeah, can't
Freaks
remember.
and Geeks?
Anyway, yeah, we definitely.
Yeah,
No,
We
he's
went
younger
over
than
the
that,
exact
Laguna
topic
Beach,
a
probably.
week ago.
yeah. I mean, that's nuts. I was like, wait, this just happened already.
No shit. Well, Eddie, who did you pick for your wife?
I don't know if we got to that one. Like I
Well,
know
who-
AJ.
Who did AJ pick
was
for his
some
wife?
Random ass.
His made no sense. His was terrible.
I would say Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I think that's what he came up with.
Did he go with Denzel for himself?
Hey,
Hey,
he
he
did.
He's
Hey.
more of like a Kevin Hart than a Denzel. All right, come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I said CeeLo Green.
Hey, CeeLo Green could work too.
Hey, I'm gonna send y'all a picture because AJ pranked everybody and sent like a filter of his head being bald.
Oh,
The dude looked just like CeeLo Green. I swear
Holy
to God.
shit, please.
I'm gonna damn
Please.
it. If I wouldn't record, I'd text it to you right now.
Oh,
But
please.
yeah,
Oh, my God. That's fucking
who
awesome.
would play y'all?
I'm easy. I would go. I think Kevin James would play me.
People
in
always
real
say
life.
Sean Astin.
Yeah, Sean Astin for Sean for sure.
Guy that
Rudy.
plays Rudy or the Yeah, that's who people always.
My wife would definitely be Isla Fisher. If you guys
Okay,
don't
y'all
know
had
her.
some. Y'all all right? Y'all had some. Y'all were ready for that question.
Yeah,
I've been asked this question
Yeah.
many times. Honestly,
And like,
It's
if
a
you ask
pretty
us like who
common
would play our
question.
dad, like Danny DeVito. Like,
That's rude, man.
I mean,
wouldn't.
it's same height.
Maybe Danny DeVito and like twins.
Yeah,
All right,
twins,
when
yes,
he was
yeah.
like
A
skinny
little younger and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, we've been. I mean, and when you do these shows all the time,
yeah. You get asked a lot of
all these
questions.
fucking-
Yeah.
so. All right. So one question I've been asking everyone recently, mostly in light of Cheyenne Renner's success last year, and then Alex Hicks beating Matt Guy. What happens first, female or a junior wins nationals,
I'll
whether
say female.
singles or doubles?
I say female.
Okay, and who's the female going to be?
I think Cheyenne Renner.
Okay, you think it's just a matter of time?
I think it's a matter of time. I may be a little biased because she did beat me, but I
yeah.
She beat a lot of people.
she's been playing at an incredible level, and
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time. She's great.
I think it's a coin flip, and it comes down to the brackets and the way things play out. But I can't give the nod to either side.
All right, so let me ask
What?
you this: who would you rather face, Cheyenne Renner or Alex Hicks right now?
Damn, that's a good question too. Man, I don't know, man. They both throw heat, so you just got to play your game. I can't make a pick on
You're
that.
you're so political.
I know, man.
I know you could not have been a captain. Eddie's more cutthroat. He's like, man, I don't care if you.
Hey, yeah, he
I'm going to
couldn't
skip
know
right over
Alonzo. Who would you
AJ.
pick?
I'm going to grab a rookie and put him right
Hey.
here on my team, right here, and
Hey,
just not worry
And he
about
said out of
anyone.
those two, he just doesn't want to play Noah Alonzo.
Absolutely.
I had to drop one to him.
I would take. I think it's a matter of time before a woman wins a national, and
Okay.
I think Cheyenne's there. I think she's right now.
The crazy
You know-
thing is, I think both of them are there. Honestly,
No, I agree.
like,
Hey,
it's
I've got a hot topic. If that happens, do we continue seeing gender divided big purse payouts for shootouts? If a woman breaks through and wins a straight up open event like that,
It'd make more sense just to combine the pools, wouldn't it?
It would.
I would think so.
to me,
but
I think they're already there. Honestly,
I agree.
Yeah,
But
I mean, Cheyenne's obviously at the elite, like the top of the top for the women's, but I mean, guys, let's
Listen,
be honest. There's
I've said
probably
the same
three
thing.
other ones that are right
you
there
can't
too.
sit there and talk about, like, in this draft, it was a perfect scenario. I don't know how much you guys listened back to, but they were really big fans of Brett Guy's team. Nothing against their team at all. I just thought that they were giving it more hype because he kept picking all the women's doubles teams. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not remembering right. But has there ever been an all women's team that's won a doubles national championship? Have they
Not
made
yet.
have they,
No,
I'm
you're
not
not misremembering.
have they made a broadcast yet? I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just like, the way that they were going about their analysis to me was like, you're not actually like staying objective here. You know what I mean? You're trying to go for a certain like woke look. Like, pick what you want to be. Do you want to be analyst or do you want to be political? Like, just one or the other. You can't have it both ways. And I thought they were being a little bit more woke than anything. Like, I just thought that there was more talent available in certain situations.
Listen to Sean being so hip, saying woke.
it just pissed me off a little bit. Like, and Bernie sitting there or whatever the fuck his name is, sitting there in red pants and a red cap. Like, it's just a bad look.
I've got a curveball co-ed team for y'all coming at the next Open. AJ and Sam Finley are playing together.
Really? Okay.
Oh, that'll be a nice
Makes
one.
sense
Yeah.
back wise.
Well, I think they're gonna throw Vikings.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, but both of them throw that. They could throw that
Yeah.
mean
Yeah,
throw.
the
so.
game wise. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'cause,
just
like, I
it's
mean,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so like when Eddie and I play, we throw BG a lot, and the bottom line is I'm more familiar with BG than he is with TC. So, and the same thing applies to Sam. She knows BG. AJ knows BG better than she knows TC. So, a lot of teams make choices based on how well the players know the
There's
product.
also
So-
two lefties too. That's
that's cool,
an
right?
interesting
That is very
dynamic.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also looked at it, so when we have done that, we're looking at, at the end of the day, we want to win.
Yeah.
And, if it was to the point to where it was opposite and, I felt like I could throw those to win, I would throw his bag. So it's never a fact of, we're not looking at it as I throw this bag, he throws that bag. We're looking at it, hey, let's win type
No, of
thing.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're pros. I mean, that's what you guys are going. You guys are going to be pretty good at throwing anything
It's the name of the game.
Right.
when it comes down to it. All right, so we're going to let the folks at home go, and we'll have you guys hang on just for a minute or so. But thank you guys for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Eddie, thanks for the insight on the ACL teams draft, your strategy.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to talk to somebody that was a captain of one of the teams, and you didn't hurt Josh's feelings too bad, so that was good. So we appreciate it. But thank you. I mean, it's a big episode 100 for us, so we're surprised we made it this many. So
Heck yeah.
thanks for having us on. Well, I mean, you guys are going to be on again, definitely. I mean, you guys are easy to interview, so it makes our life way easier.
Yeah. Congrats on 100, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right. So as always, we hope you throw it straight. It's nothing but four baggers from here on out.
Cornhole it.
Later.